Hey, happy Monday, the best night of the week when it isn't a game week. Welcome to the Wise Guys. Dave McCann and Blaine Fowler. We're the Wise Guys, the largest BYU sports live stream show in the whole world, presented by Brady Plus, Eddie, and Mountain America Credit Union. Wise Guys distributed by the Deseret News. Watch for this week's new podcast, which will come out tomorrow, wherever you get your podcasts.
Yeah, and we're so excited. Like, the stream is already up and running.
Yeah, they are.
Bone Tats. I like that handle, Bone Tats. Excited for tonight's show. You guys do a great job from Kanab, Utah. And we want you all to tell us where you're signing in from. Russ Paulus is in the house. Paul Lacey's in the house. From Cache Valley, John Crowder. From Harriman, Robert Robb, who's in every week. Ridgecrest, California is where Rob's from. So you keep telling us where you're from. We'd love to have you here. We'd also really love it if you subscribe to our free email at wiseguys.com. Dave and I subscribe. We get our own email every week. It's
awesome.
With all the highlights and what's going on. And you can, if you go to the website, wiseguys.com, you can access all of the content for 3 years worth of content. You want to go back and watch what Danny Ainge had to say, or if you're having a little Marie Osmond, like, hey, I wonder what Marie Osmond's, saying these. You go back and watch Marie on the show, and you can go back and search through all that. So please do that. While you're at it, subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button on YouTube as well. That helps us out. It's free. Everything we're asking you to do is free, and it's good stuff. And we appreciate all you do to support us.
Periodically tonight, you're going to see a map because we were messing around with something.
Yeah.
A viewer map for the Wise Guys. It'll come up from time to time, and it should show where all of you are taking the show in from. And our huge team of 4, counting us. So the big 2 are over here working on that, Jack and DJ. So occasionally that'll come up, and we'll just kind of try to fill the.
That's fun.
We'll try to fill the landscape with our Wise Guys audience. So what we need from you is to specify where you're taking us in from, and then we'll put it on the map and try to fill it up. So
Covina, California is in the house. We've got California's well represented. Viejo Village over in the Bay is in the house. WJ Utah, I'm assuming that's West Jordan.
Yep.
Saying go Cougs. Vernal's in the house. Debbie, out in Vernal. Love to know if you think A-Rod has already chosen a quarterback or not. We'll talk a little bit more about that. For sure, we're gonna cover that today. So this is what the map's gonna look like, and what happens is you chime in. We're gonna kind of show a world map and show you kind of where people are. Yeah,
and we're hopeful. We're not sure how it's gonna go, but this is a live stream.
We got Farmington.
Go all over the place.
We got Angler, North Carolina in the house. We got Orem in the house. We'll be all over Utah, but it's kind of fun. We're already East Coast and West Coast.
Yeah.
We're Fort Worth, so we're down in the deep South. Well, that is the deep South. Texas is the deep South. I'm certain before we're all said and done, we're going to have maybe a couple of spots in Europe and maybe the Pacific Rim check-in.
Yeah, let's just see where we go. There's Craig from Stansbury Park with his son in their home MTC. So
there we go.
We'll try to provide some spiritual stuff tonight too, since we're part of the mission prep.
It counts as MTC. Hey, and I'll just tell you this. I'm just going to tell you, be really, really safe on P-Day. There you go. Now you don't need to watch the P-Day safety video because I do host that video.
There you go.
And I'm just going to tell you, be safe on P-Day. That's what I'm going to tell you.
There's Kaysville, Utah. There's Puget Sound, just southeast of Seattle. All right. So,
Jordan, what is that? Jordan Kennard says, "Hey, from West Jordan, Utah, but my wife's from Bolivia. So do we put a spot in Bolivia?
No.
Wait,
come on.
Here's the thing, Jordan.
She's in Bolivia. That's different.
In Bolivia, and she's listening. We're going to put her on the map. So
yeah, that's the
Phoenix, Arizona's in there with Carolyn Smith.
Hey, Wise Guys is presented by Brady Plus. Brady Plus provides cleaning, food service, and packaging equipment and dispensers and service and repairs. They've got over 150 distribution facilities across the country and over 6,000 employees. You can learn more at bradyplus.com.
Also by Mountain America Credit Union, helping people achieve their financial dreams for over 80 years. Whether you're buying a home, planning for retirement, managing daily expenses, Mountain America has the tools, the technology, and the guidance to help you succeed. There's a lot of information waiting for you at macu.com. A great friend of the show, Mountain America Credit Union.
Also sponsored by Eddie. HR and payroll software built for small businesses. Whether you run a dental office in Spanish Fork, Utah, or a construction crew in Lehigh, Eddie helps you hire, onboard, track time, and run payroll all in one place. Simple, local, reliable, built by business owners who believe people come first. See how Eddie can serve your team at Eddie.com.
And we have a new segment weekly now where we we highlight a student athlete of the week, our Relight athlete of the week, presented by Redmond. The secret is in the salt. Learn what it can do for you at redmond.com. I love that we're doing this because I love that we're going to take a student athlete, multiple sports we're going to consider, and we're going to talk about an athlete that are doing great things in the classroom and out on the field.
Chase Roberts was our first one last week.
Yep.
And here's what Relight did. Redmond, they sent him a care package full of stuff.
That's right.
Because he's our Relight athlete of the week. So tonight we're going to announce someone brand new, and we'll talk about them. And then our friends from Redmond, we'll send them a gift basket, and that's kind of cool.
Yeah. And hey,
we love giving.
Yes, we do. And let's not forget that Wise Guys is distributed by Deseret News and Deseret.com, Utah's newspaper since 1850. We love our relationship with the Deseret News.
So there's Treyson in from Charlottesville, Virginia.
Yep.
Clay in from South Carolina.
Treyson, are you in school back in Charlottesville at UVA, or are you just, is that which is where you live? I'm interested to know that. So.
William is listening in beautiful and cool Snowbird, Utah.
Oh, man,
Did snow finally melt up there, or are they still skiing?
I could use some cool. Do you know it's supposed to be 101 in the valley on the Wasatch Front on Wednesday?
Yeah.
What is going on? Do we live in Phoenix, Arizona?
I don't know. But the other night we were at my nephew's football scrimmage, and it was 70 degrees.
That's nice.
That felt like football season.
Clay Peterson's checking in from South Carolina. We got both Carolinas taken care of. Can we get both Dakotas tonight?
I'd like to think we could get both Dakotas.
We got North and South Carolina. If we could get North and South Dakota, I would feel complete tonight.
And now you can't just say where you visited or you have friends in. This needs to be where you are watching the show.
Joel, you can't say my son is in Waikoloa unless he's actually listening to the show. So what I want you to do, Joel, I want you to call your son, and I know Joel, by the way. I want you to call your son, and I want you to say, hey, get on the show, and then I'm going to put on that you're watching the show from Waikoloa, and we're going to put a pin on the map. So there you go.
All right, there's Nebraska as we speak. We're now into the Midwest.
Pleasant Hill, so East Bay in California. There you go.
Moving along. Here's what we have on tonight's show. It's going to be awesome. The AP Top 25 preseason poll came out. And you know what? We're pretty okay where BYU is sitting. We'll explain why and how it is so much better than last year at this time.
Yeah. We still believe they're underrated because we think they're putting too much credence into – they dropped too many spots considering where they were with Jake's departure. But that's okay. We still feel very good because we know what they don't know. And you know what? They don't know what they're about to find out.
They are
what
about
they
to
don't
find
know.
out.
So,
hey, how about Jennifer in beautiful Bangkok listening?
How about
for
that?
Updates.
We got Mississippi, and so the
Thailand.
South. We're starting to spot the South. Wait a minute.
There's a South Dakota. Wait
Weston
a sec.
Birch says his steak is in South Dakota.
Yeah, Weston. If you're not in South Dakota,
Weston,
it doesn't count.
Does that mean you're right on the border in North Carolina and you cross the border to go to South Dakota? You're in North Dakota and you drive to South Dakota for church?
Yeah.
We might be able to count that one.
If you drove over the border during the show, we could count that.
Look at this. Here's Jennifer Smith on the map in Bangkok, Thailand.
Okay. There we go.
So Bangkok is covered.
So we're exploring with the map. Eventually, we're going to have this down to a science.
Where are we right here?
It just looks like the hills. So,
in
that's
Nebraska.
There's a cornfield just to the left of that blue
And there's
dot.
some rivers. I like the rivers and creeks.
Cool.
So.
Also tonight, the latest on the quarterback battle. We're going to hear from Austin Collie. He'll join us live. He'll take your questions. And Hans Olsen, both former Cougars, both former Indianapolis Colts. We've never had two Colts on the same show.
That's
That's going to happen tonight.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
So, hey, Clinton from Westlake Village, California. He says still behind Bear Bachmeier. All things being more or less equal. Start the talented 4-star freshman. Yeah, that's. I think that's some solid thinking you got going there, Clint. We're going to talk about that. And we're dotting the state of California now, which is nice. I just came from California last night. I was down in SoCal, down in Anaheim for a few days. So
if you were still there, we would count you.
Would you put a
if you were watching the show?
Yeah. But see, that's like, I can't say, here, hey, you guys, I went on vacation in Anaheim last week, so put a spot on the map for me. That's not how this works.
There's Doug Wing's wife from the Philippines. So there we go. Awesome.
Doug's Wing's wife. Wait, then you know what? Doug's your husband. You're not his wife. Just say I'm such and such Wing. Doug's my husband.
Yeah. Good to have you in from the Philippines.
You're the one on the show. So, hey, we have Ephraim Hope Charity Golf Tournament CEO David Thorne, or CEO of Construction Management Pros, who are the title sponsor of the Ephraim Hope. We just had this golf tournament last week. You and I were there. What a great success. And we're going to talk about how many kids that golf tournament helped enable to go to school.
Yeah, and it was huge. It was a great event, and we'll talk about that.
And I've never seen the weather better at that golf course in my life.
A speck of wind. It was awesome. And a BYU soccer star is our Relight Athlete of the Week. So that is what's coming up on the show tonight. Also, whatever's going on campus, and we got a lot of that as well. And we have this day in history, which is always a cool way to wrap things up.
Hey, wait a minute. So now Joel explains. So he says, Joel Harris says, Jace is flying the 787 MAX Southwest back as the first officer, the red eye from Kona to Vegas. But we talk every day about Uncle B and the Blue Cool Cougs. You know what, Joel? I feel like we should give you a dot in Kona and one in Vegas for that one.
Really? You ready to go a 2 dot on that? It is our first night on the map, so there's not like there's any real rules.
Exactly.
How about Jordan saying, hey, do you think the offense is good enough for BYU to beat Utah? Let me reverse that, Jordan. Do you think Utah's offense is good enough to score on BYU's defense at Lavelle Edwards Stadium?
Yeah. So that's a better question.
Yeah. So we'll talk about the offense and all that stuff here in just a moment.
Here's the question. Everybody's questioning BYU's offense because they've got a new quarterback. Utah also has a new quarterback.
Yeah, and a new coordinator. Yeah. And a new system.
And at least
BYU's, they weren't good last year.
BYU's quarterback comes back to a bunch of talent on the offensive side, including a humongous offensive line. And all these skilled players around him running the same offense they've run for a number of years. And the only thing new is quarterback, and they have some talented guys. Utah has a new quarterback who did run this offense last year because he ran it at New Mexico with a new coordinator and the whole rest of the team that's never run this offense. I don't know which is a better situation.
I can
tell you what I think.
Yep.
So
I think there's Sylvia in from Wisconsin, so we'll dot Wisconsin. RG3 from Denver, Colorado.
RG3?
Okay. All right.
I love when RG3 just joins the show.
Yeah. Come on in. How about that AP poll came out today? We weren't quite sure where BYU would be. These were the writers. The coaches poll came out last week, and they had BYU at 23. So we thought, well, the writers are a little bit different. They think differently.
Yeah.
Would they tank BYU because of the quarterback situation? And they come in at number 26 in the top 25.
I was not going to be surprised if they were in the mid-30s.
Yeah, me either.
So
even upper 30s.
The CBS Sports poll, like, who do they talk to? The CBS Sports poll had them 36, but AP top 25, 26, one out. They literally could come out and, like, if they blow Portland State off the field, could be ranked the next week.
Yeah, it depends on what happens in front of them.
Because think about it, there's going to be some schools that are right there in front of them that'll lose in that first week. So the likelihood at 26 of being ranked in the top 25 in week 2 is high, and if they can start out 4-0,
yeah,
they're right there in the top 20.
So AP has them 26. Coaches poll 23. CBS has them 36.
What are you thinking, CBS?
Rivals came out today with theirs. They have them at number 23. Here's what's interesting. When you go, okay, well, I guess 26, I guess we got robbed. Go back to last year. When that poll came out, BYU didn't receive a single vote in the AP or the coaches polls.
Yeah.
Not a single vote. That's how far out, and that's how many teams they had to jump to finish number 13. So when you start at 26, you've started about 30 teams ahead of where you were last year.
Right.
In just trying to get to, remember, you got to get in the top 12. That's kind of the Mason-Dixon line on college football playoff. And you got to be good enough to get there, and we'll see about all that. But it's such a different outlook when you can get in the poll with a win as opposed to last year. They didn't get in the top 25 until they routed Kansas State. They wanted SMU. They routed Kansas State. And then it wasn't until the following week when they beat Arizona that they finally got in.
Yeah, they could be in the top 20. There's a possibility they could be in the top 20 before they play a Big 12 game.
Yeah.
At 3-0.
That would be something. And then hopefully by then, with a bye week in there, whoever their quarterback is, they've settled in a little bit.
Yeah.
Now, granted, defense and special teams are going to carry this group early. At least that's what we suspect. But it's set up to be all right. So at 26, one out of the top 25. That top 25 gets you in the ticker, and it means something. And it might not be accurate, but it means something.
Yeah.
And then we'll see. But I didn't mind 26.
No, and if we look at this AP poll, it's a collection of blue bloods in the top 10. Right, and when we say blue bloods, just traditional powers that are good every year. And how about there's a reason to root for Texas right now that they're not in our league with Steve Sarkisian down there.
Sark's one of our guys.
Yeah, Sark's our guy. So in the AP poll, Texas is preseason number 1. And then they're followed by Penn State at 2, who's not far from where I grew up, and I went on a recruiting visit there. Ohio State's number 3. Okay. Clemson 4. So Clemson, who was kind of out for a couple of years, is back now. And rightly so. A great program. Georgia's 5. I always hesitate to rank Georgia anything out of the top 3.
Yeah.
Right? Because so they had kind of a light year. Notre Dame 6, Oregon 7, Alabama 8, LSU 9, and Miami 10. That's the top 10. That seems legit, right?
Yeah, no arguments there. Arizona State comes in at number 11, first Big 12 team.
Right.
Was a little higher than I thought.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
I mean, they
there's
lost
been this
Scatterboo,
trend in
but they got a
all the
quarterback
polls
back.
that the Big 12 is respected, but not like their depth is respected. So we're seeing 4 and 5 teams ranked from 11 to 25, depending on the poll. But we're not seeing any top 10 rankings for the Big 12, which is interesting.
They're going to have to fight their way in. Illinois is 12, South Carolina is 13, Michigan's 14, Florida is 15. Florida wasn't very good last year, if I recall.
No,
a lot of these kind of name schools. SMU at 16, then here's Kansas State at 17. Oklahoma shouldn't be in the top 25, but they're in at 18. Texas A&M, you never know with them. They're at 19. Then there's Indiana, Ole Miss at 21. Then you get into Iowa State, Texas Tech at 22, 23. Finished with Tennessee and Boise State. I don't know if Boise State belongs there or not. But then BYU, and then right behind BYU is Utah, and then right behind Utah is Baylor.
Yeah, so you got 3 Big 12 teams at 26, 27, and 28, just outside the poll. 4 teams, Arizona State, Kansas State, Iowa State, and Texas Tech, ranked in that top 25. So they're saying there's 7 teams in the top 28.
From the Big 12.
But there's not anybody in the top 10. So the message has been clear across the polls that the perception of the Big 12 is it's a very competitive league that's very good, but they're not elite level. They maybe have one team college football playoff level where you look at the Big 10 and also, you got Penn State at 2, Ohio State at 3. You've got that's all they have in the top 10, right?
Yeah.
The SEC's got Texas at 1. They've got Georgia at 5.
They got 10 in the top 25.
I take that back. I keep forgetting. How do I forget that Oregon's in the Big 10?
Oh, yeah, they're in there.
So Oregon's at number 7. So there's 3 Big 10 teams in the top 10. Then the SEC, you got Texas, you got Georgia, you got Alabama, you got LSU. So there's 4 SEC teams in the top 10. You got Notre Dame, who's an independent. Seems like a Big 10 team to me, though. Although they play their schedules on the ACC. And you have 1 or 2 ACC teams, Clemson at 4 and Miami at 10. And no Big 12. No Big 12.
Yeah, you know what? That seems about right. At least up higher. And then we'll just see what happens.
But what needs to happen is the Big 12 needs to be so good this year that you have 2 really good teams and they both make the college football playoff and they win. And so now all of a sudden you have 2 teams in the top 6, right? Or would that be the top 6 or would that be the top 8? Yeah. How many do we start with now? Is it still 12 this year?
12.
It expands next year. So out of 12, you have 2 win. And if you have 2 in that top 8, or even
you should be all right.
Or you get 1 in the Final 4, then all of a sudden you start getting the benefit of the doubt. If you get 2 teams up there, then they go, oh, maybe they're deeper than we think they are.
Yeah.
Right?
Here's what does need to happen. Jordan Berry on the live stream says, checking in from Greenville, North Carolina, really need a big win against ECU or I can't show my face around the office for at least a week. Okay, so
there's Cedar Park,
North
Texas.
Carolina in there. Here's another.
Lincoln, England.
England. All right, Alan, good to have you. Good morning.
We've gotten into the UK. No, it's late. What time is it there? It's 7 hours later. So
there's Missoula, Montana.
Are you
Henderson,
watching? He's
Nevada.
watching at 1:18 a.m.
That's nice.
Nice.
Dirk is in from McCann Road on Deming, New Mexico. It's been a while. It's good to have you back. I'm glad that McCann Road's got service again, so you can take in the show. So that map will flash on the stream tonight as we go. We'll show where we'll try and show where everybody is. And then we're going to master that. And then each week we'll just see how fast we can fill it up. And I think that'll be a lot of fun. Let's get to some camp notes. Austin Collie is going to join us in just a couple minutes. But let's talk about the quarterback situation as the Mackies check in from Montana. Bear Bachmeier, McCae Hillstead, Treyson Bourguet, that's the 3-man battle. None of them looked great in the scrimmage on Saturday. It looked like, as Kalani said, it was a defensive-dominated scrimmage. Had a spirited practice today, I heard as I was walking by. Where are we at with that? I thought maybe, like Aaron Roderick said, hey, we might have something for you on Monday, speaking to the media Saturday afternoon after the scrimmage. Well, here we are on Monday night and still nothing. And that leads me to believe, by the way, there's Tanzania on the stream.
Tanzania?
How about that? There's our, let's see, greetings from Dar es Salaam, Tanzania.
Okay, I'm pumped about that right now, actually. I don't think, have we ever been in Tanzania?
I do not believe we've been in Tanzania.
Jack's saying we've never been in Tanzania.
So there's a new spot for us. So England, Tanzania, where else we got? We got Bangkok. We're in Bangkok tonight, and then Philippines. So there's 4.
That's cool. Hey, every play. Hey, look at now. I love that look because now Tanzania's on there, and then you've got
gets us on the continent.
You got Thailand. That is
Philippines,
and the Philippines,
and then we're over in England.
Look, this is a pretty cool look right here because we just kind of put the UK in there. We got 4 down in the southeast, 18 in kind of the west. Like, yeah, keep bringing it. It's pretty fun.
So let me ask you the big question.
So I wanted to add something that has become really interesting. Emerson, I think it's Gilman, is Geilman. I love that he wears number 16. All-state quarterback from Bountiful, Utah. He's a freshman. He's a true walk-on freshman. Wasn't on scholarship to start the year. He is on scholarship right now. And you want to know why? He's pushed himself into reps in fall camp.
It's good.
And he has looked really good. And nobody even knows the guy's name.
No.
And he was very good at Bountiful. They won a state championship there. They may have been undefeated. And he was very, very good when he was there. He came in with no expectations, and all he has done is catch up to everybody in 9 days of practice and has looked good. And when I watched him last week, I was like, who is this guy? Like, I'm actually proud that he's wearing number 16. And so we need to start adding him to the conversation, Dave.
Yeah, let's put him in there.
Yeah. It's like, so if you see number 16 slinging it out there, he's a 6'3", 200-pound freshman quarterback, Emerson, and his Geilman. Is that Gauman?
It's either Gilman or Galman.
Yeah, it's Emerson Gilman. And my understanding is he has a 40-inch vertical jump.
Wow.
So at 6'3", he's a crazy athlete.
AJ's got a 40-inch vertical jump.
But that's 6'9" with 7'2" wingspan.
Is that another AJ out there?
That's a craziness thing right there. But this is... So all of a sudden, he's looking really good, spinning the ball, making good decisions. He's really athletic. I'm going, wait, what about this guy? And the fact that they're a couple weeks into fall camp and they took a kid that was a walk-on and put him on scholarship, what does that tell you?
Well, it tells me that either I should be really nervous or he's like Superman or Bachmeier's Superman that's just fitting his cape size because one of these 2 guys with experience should have won the job already.
Yeah, so and based on that comment right there, here's my take on it right now. This is just a Blaine Fowler's take. They haven't announced anything. The longer this goes, and I think I said this last week, you're 9 full practices in a scrimmage in, and the guys that are coming back and have been in this offense for more than a year haven't distanced themselves from 2 guys that have been in the offense for 9 days.
Yeah, that tells me.
And we're here for spring ball. So the longer this thing goes, where it's a battle, the more likely it is that Bear Bachmeier's the guy, in my opinion. That's the Blaine Fowler's opinion. That's not Aaron Roderick's opinion. That's not from Aaron Roderick. That is my opinion. If the guys that have been around more than a year haven't been able to separate themselves and just have a better command of the offense, if their numbers aren't crazy better, then something's up. That's telling me that this young guy has come in 9 days as far as they've come in a year in the program.
Yeah, that's kind of scary.
And so the longer it goes, the more I would say Bear has a chance to be the starter on opening day. Now, and having said that, I've watched these guys at multiple practices over the last couple of weeks. This is a different situation. We've had a few years, and I'm not going to name the years because I don't want to call out anybody, where people have said, well, who's going to be the guy? And I go, we don't know. And they go, well, why not? And in my head, I don't want to be mean, but I'm saying because they're all terrible. Like, nobody's good. Like, nobody's separating themselves, and they've all been flat out awful, which is scary, right? We've had that a few times. Mm-hmm. That is not the case this year. They've all been solid. But nobody's just grabbed it and been elite level, like this guy's as good as Jake right now, kind of a guy. And if so, I'm comfortable with any one of them because none of them have been awful. In fact, they've all been pretty solid. the fact that none of them have taken it, I'm just like, at that point, do you just go, well, if the freshman is as good as these guys in 9 days, do I go with that and know that he's got this tremendous upside? And here's the thing. When you look at the numbers, I know they keep track of everything. He's been taking care of the ball as well as any of them. And that's the main thing you had to see out of him, right? Yeah. So the longer it goes, the more and more it looks like Bear Bachmeier. And I think one of the things that A-Rod would like to do, and we talked about this last week as well, you don't want to just come out and say this is the guy. You want the especially the guys on offense, that when they say, guys, this is who we've decided to go with and we're going to get all the number one reps, you want the whole offense to go, yeah, of course it is. Like, that's the guy we expect. Like, that's the guy that's been playing the best. They're not quite to that point yet, but I think they're getting close. So
it'll be interesting to see, and we'll keep tabs each day and try to keep you posted. ESPN today, by the way, named Will Farron second-team All-American as a kicker right behind the Michigan kid.
Who's going to be, like, is the Michigan kid better than Will?
I don't think so.
He is not.
He's going to have to be phenomenal to do that. I've got an article in the Deseret News this afternoon. Defense is the new offense for the time being. As we break in a new quarterback, how reliable that defense has to be.
Yeah. We have a number of guys, Michael Zimmerman, stating the same thing that multiple on the chat have said. BYU's an underdog, has always played well. The challenge for BYU is to win when you're favored. Well, the good news is they're 26, so they can play with a chip on their shoulder again to start the season. And Mark Sanders, thanks for that. He says, love your show, you guys. And we appreciate all of you guys. So Kellen Hansen says the same. So
season opener Saturday, August 30th against Portland State. BYUSN Game Day starts at 4 Mountain Time on BYUtv. Out in Cougar Canyon for the first hour, inside the stadium with the warm-ups for the second hour. Portland State BYU at 6 on ESPN+. Cougars are a 34.5-point favorite. 34.5.
And here's the question. If they just cover, so if they win by 35.
Yeah, I think it gets them in the top 25.
I think they move in the top 25. They go from 26 to 24 or something like that.
Post-game show is on BYUtv after that one. And one of the characters returning to BYUtv's Game Day is former star receiver Austin Collie. During his 3 years with John Beck and Max Hall, Austin caught 30 touchdown passes and amassed 3,255 receiving yards. And then he went and caught passes from Peyton Manning and Tom Brady in the NFL. It's our pleasure to welcome Austin back to the Wise Guys tonight, and he joins us right there with his cool shades on. You look game ready right there.
You got to got that rugged good looks going tonight.
Yeah, you caught me in between practices right now, between the high school and the Little League. So
yeah. Well, we're just glad we could get you. Do you consider yourself fortunate to have had those 4 quarterbacks throwing you passes, or were those quarterbacks fortunate to have you out there catching them?
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to tell you, that they were blessed. They're blessed, sure-handed. Anything that was within the perimeter was going to be caught. So, they were okay QBs. I made him a little bit better.
Hey, Austin, we had Mitch Matthews on last week. I know you know Mitch well, and we asked him a tough one. We said, "Who's the greatest receiver in BYU history?" And he said, "I just want to know what you think about
since
this."
2000.
Since 2000. We didn't go all the way back to Kozlowski and those guys, or your dad, or any of those guys, right? That I played with, not the old geezers, but since 2000. And he said, "Well, you got to give Cody credit because he's the all-time leading receiver, but he played a year longer than Austin did." And he said, on just this plain old jump ball, like, if the guy's got one-on-one, you're just standing there, like, yeah, I think you want to throw it to Cody. He goes, but the best football player to play wide receiver in 2000, since 2000, and maybe of all time, is Austin Collie. That's what Mitch said. What do you think about that?
Oh, thanks, Mitch. I thought he was maybe going to say Mitch.
No,
we wouldn't let him say his name.
He said Austin Collie was not only unbelievably skilled, he's just the best football player to ever play that position here. Which I thought was that's a great comment from a player, that you're the best football player to ever play that position, which is pretty cool.
Well, I appreciate that. Mitch was a great talent himself, and I don't know, man. Cody, there's been some great receivers that have come down the pipe, man. From I think Chase is one of those guys now. Chase has that big play capability of, golly, I mean, he just has a knack for making a play when you need it, and then. Mitch was good in his own right. Cody is obviously a baller, right? I would probably choose him for a high point ball as well, right? Mm-hmm. Got a little more size to me. He had a high point a lot more balls than I did. Thankfully, I was blessed at the quarterback position. But I think everybody's got their niche. Everyone's got their kind of their tool belt that they were pretty darn good at. So
Austin,
I appreciate that.
What's the challenge now for this receivers room as they're working with 3-4 different quarterbacks without a starter named here in the middle of camp? What are they up against?
Man, it's a battle. I'll tell you that. Like I would hope that they're already leaning towards somebody and he's getting the majority of the reps. I'd hope they were doing that. I obviously I would imagine it's probably too close to call right now, and they're just waiting for someone to really pop off the page, and in that case, then they're getting equal reps. But it's kind of your worst nightmare as a receiver. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
Right? Like you want a guy that you've been playing with. Like if I'm Chase right now, I'm I've got full faith in who they're going to put out there. But man, I sure would love to have played with Jake. Just because of the chemistry that had already been built over the last couple of years.
When you have a situation like this, how long does it take? Like, let's say sometime later this week, and don't you think, Austin, it'll be more obvious? It'll be obvious to the players before they even make a formal announcement. They're going to go, oh, wait a minute. Seems like Bear's getting all the 1 reps the last 2. You know what I mean? They're going to notice who it is before it happens. It's almost better if that happens, where it's obvious when they go, hey, it's going to be McCae, or it's going to be that the whole offense goes, yeah, of course it is. And the problem is I don't feel like they're to that point. But when they get to that point, and let's say it's later this week, how long is it going to take these guys like Chase and JoJo and Parker to adjust and build chemistry with the guy that's the number 1?
I don't know, man. I think it's as quickly as they want it to be, right? Like I know that if I found out I was, a new quarterback was coming in, and I had somebody, and the minute that they declare that guy was a starter, I'd make damn sure that I'm getting reps in after practice, before practice, as much as I can to hurry and expedite whatever that process is, right? I mean, these guys are talented enough, and it's really relying on the quarterbacks who haven't maybe been in the system that long, but the receivers are, they're good enough to adjust and to really make it easy on the quarterbacks over the course of time.
Austin, how do you see these first 4 weeks? Portland State, Stanford, a bye week in East Carolina. Is that not tailor-made to work through a quarterback situation that BYU's in?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, being from California, I was aware of Portland State, right? And I don't know how great they are now, but I always know they're always competitive D1 AA school or whatever division they're in. But it'll be good competition. And Stanford, obviously, being Stanford, maybe not being the Stanford that we knew back in the 2000s and 2010, but they're still a good football team that's capable of coming in and putting a game on BYU, or giving them a game, right? So I definitely don't think it's they're kind of warm-up games, right? Like I don't think we're at a point where we can think of that as we're going into the season still maybe undecided about who the starter is, and we're going to give them as many reps as we can to kind of let the cream rise to the top. I mean, hopefully they have a starter name by day 1 and gives us as many reps as we can with the quarterback that they plan on moving forward with.
So when they do decide who this guy is, Austin, then do you think, like say Portland State, they're a 34.5 point favorite. They should beat them by more than that. They should beat them by 40 plus, in my opinion, right? They just shouldn't be able to match up physically. So in a game like that, if you're coming back and Max Hall is a junior, Max plays like a quarter and a half and then he comes out, right? Because it's like, yeah, we know what Max can do. We don't need him in Portland State. We're ahead by 30. Let's just get him out of there, and you give the other guys an opportunity. In this situation where they maybe have just named a guy, do you play him a lot longer? Do you play him 3 quarters? Like, what do you do? Do we see whoever the number 1 guy is play more plays than you normally would in these first couple of games just because you have to get him reps?
I would. I'd play him the whole game, man. As many live reps as we can get him. And obviously there's not. Maybe there is. We just don't know about it. But obviously there's not a huge discrepancy between maybe 2 to 4 of them, right? I would get whoever the starter is, man. I'd give him as many reps as possible. Just getting to know the offense. Just because, again, any offense, man, you're wanting to get him to a point where he's not thinking and he's just playing, right? And that's only going to come with reps.
Thrilled to have our friend and colleague Austin Collie on the Wise Guys, presented by Brady Plus, Eddie, and Mountain America Credit Union. This receivers room, Fesi Sataki says it's as deep as he's ever had here at BYU, led by Chase Roberts. Is that enough to help the new quarterback still be productive in the pass game?
Yeah, I think so. I think I just got done telling my little guys, man, we have a new quarterback this year, and I rounded up the wide receivers last game, and I told them, listen, with the new quarterback, there's a bit more that's asked of the receivers. You got to make the plays for the quarterback, plays that maybe you wouldn't have made before with the quarterback of old. So I think the receivers know that. I think Fessie's telling all of them that, right? Like if I'm Chase, if I'm Parker, if I'm JoJo, right? I'm going out for everything and making sure that I try and reel everything I can in, because I know that we're a little bit behind the eight ball in terms of developing that chemistry. And I know balls aren't going to be exactly where I anticipate them to be. And so you just kind of have to have that mindset that you're going to go the extra mile to make that play for the quarterback, so that he gets completions and his confidence continues to build. But a lot more pressure is going on that receiver group for sure this year.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you about Cody Hagan, because you remember when he was at Quarter Canyon in high school and he was getting recruited by everybody. And he's had a really good summer and a really good fall where he's been healthy and he's back to full speed, back to his 10.4, 10.500 meters body again. And, Fessie's been saying he's going to have a big impact this year. And then people keep saying to me, like, Cody Hagan, like where did he come from? And I'm thinking, are you kidding me? Like, he was big time when he came out of high school. It's easy to forget when they head out on a mission. And you've experienced that and you've watched that. How good can he be this year? Now, remember, he came back a year ago, May. So before last season, he'd only been home a couple of months and he had some nagging injuries. He's been 100% healthy for like 12 months now. You watched him in high school. How good can he be? Because everybody knows about Parker and JoJo and Chase, but what about Cody Hagan?
Oh, he's an absolute stud. I mean, I think when he was coming out of high school, he's a 4 or 5 star recruit, and the kid has gas, right? Like, which, Chase is fast. Parker's really fast, but having an extra guy, man, to really stretch the field is going to be a massive benefit to this offense, right? Especially as a quarterback, when you feel you got a guy that can run by anybody, that gives you a ton of confidence. But he's coming off a mission is hard, man. Like, it is hard. Your mind's still in the pre-mission days where you think you can do all these things, but your body just does not catch up, and it does not, it doesn't cooperate with what your mind wants to do. So, an extra year in the offense, and he really, correct me if I'm wrong, he really didn't get a chance to play prior to leaving on a mission, right? Like, right. He had to come home, and he's right in this, the thick of it, and had to go through kind of getting acclimated for the first time. So, he's a little bit more confident. He's got some veteran stripes underneath him. So I expect big things from him this year.
Austin, taking a wider view of this season, what do you think will be the biggest difference when it comes to winning or losing for this team as a whole?
I think there's going to be more pressure on the defense. I think defense is going to have to win ball games for us, right? There are going to be moments where the defense is going to, they're going to have to play out of their minds to get the win, just because there's going to be some growing pains. And I expect the run game to be a huge component to getting a win as well, right? I think the run game is going to have to be sound, and from what I hear out of Provo, LJ looks really good, strong, physical, probably the best he's ever looked preseason. Mm-hmm. It might be the first time he's going into the season without any injuries, knock on wood.
Yeah, right. It really is, and they've been trying to keep him healthy. They held he and Sione out of the scrimmage on Saturday because just like we know what those two dudes can do, so why would we put them out there? And it's interesting because I've been noticing a lot of two-back sets, and I asked A-Rod about it, and he goes, that is simply because Sione's too good for me not to put on the field. He goes, they're two of our best players. They both can catch the ball out of the backfield. And so I've had to tweak the offense a little bit to get both these guys out there because they put all kinds of pressure on defense when I have two running backs. And then we can do all kinds of stuff in the run game with two-back sets. Your thought on that? There have been times when in the past where you're like, are they tailoring this to the guys? And now we're hearing A-Rod say, hey, we got two really good running backs. We're going to play some two-back sets this year. What's your thought on that?
Yeah, I think, honestly, I think they kind of have that Sonic and what are my guys, Montgomery and what's his name?
The Thunder and Lightning are big guy. Yeah.
Like Sione, man, is that kid knows how to finish runs, hard runner north and south. He's got some wiggle to him, and I think LJ's a little bit more of a finesse type of guy. He's got a little more wiggle to him, but having both those weapons in the backfield, man, is like, I mean, that's huge, right? Especially for longevity, so that not everything's put on one guy. Especially with a lot of high touches, which I am anticipating that's what's going to happen this year.
Gearing up for another season on BYU's Game Day. What are you most looking forward to get the band back together here later in the month?
Just hanging out with my guys right there in studio, right there. A little hanging out with Dave and Blaine, talking shop, talking ball, right? I mean, that's why I do it.
I heard that you're not happy with the new. So, we did the photo shoot, and they did our new shirts have blade collars, and they said to me, "Do you like the blade collar?" I said, "Yeah, they're fine." And they go, "Well, Austin doesn't like them." Uh-oh. I'm like, "Well, wait, why doesn't Austin like the blade collar?" I said, "No, he wants a full collar." I'm like,
not a huge blade collar guy.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out what you didn't like about the blade collar. Like, these are the kinds of things we get into, Yeah,
I like the full collar better too, but
you and Dave are a full collar traditionally. I'm like, why not a blade collar? Tiger made it big.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I and it depends on what's who the clothing manufacturer is too, on how that blade collar looks. Sometimes you're getting a mock neck with those blade collars, right? That's a bad look, right? Just go the traditional route, but I do want a little bit tapered, a little bit tailored, right? I don't need a Nike double XL, team line.
You don't want to wear a
collared shirt.
Yeah,
I don't need to be swimming in the thing. No, you know what I'm saying?
So we're gonna roll out that new look.
So hey guys, just so you know, all you folks listening and on the podcast, we want you to look for the new blade collar shirt when we come out for the first game day.
And the fashion guru,
that
Austin
both
Collie.
Dave and Austin aren't that fond of, but I think they're great.
Let's hope they look good. We'll see.
If we're rocking the blade collar, I will be on strike outside the studio. Okay.
Hey, let's do 5 questions for Austin Collie, presented by Strategy Square. Fire up your company's social media reach, and talk and show you how to do it at strategysquare.co. Tonight we're going to play What Are You Most Proud Of? We'll give you a series of options, and then you tell us which one you're most proud of. We played this with soccer coach Jen Rockwood the other night, and we had a good time, so we thought, let's take it to the next level with Austin Collie, all right? So we're going to suggest 3 things.
And some of them are all really good things, so you got to pick which is the best.
This isn't an easy show. And then you tell us which one you are the most proud of. You ready?
You got this? Okay, here we go.
I feel he's ready for it.
Here's the first one. And it's going to be A, B, and C. A, 3,255 yards receiving. B, 30 touchdown receptions. Or C, 17 career 100-yard receiving games. Which are you most proud of?
I say 3,255
yards. Do you think that was the hardest to get? That was the hardest accomplishment out of those 3?
Yeah. I think over the course of 3 years, right? Not taking a redshirt year, and that just screams consistency to me, and that was kind of my main goal as a receiver, is just be consistent.
Okay. All right.
3,250. Hey, I'll take any one of those 3. From any receiver that we have, I'll take any one of those 3.
On the stream, Timothy's in from Perth, Australia, so that's another continent, Jack, to put on.
So, Austin, what we're doing tonight is, because this thing's gotten so global, we have a map that we're putting up. We're putting pins on the map of where people are checking in from. And right now we're in Bangkok, we're in the Philippines, we're in the UK, we're in Australia, we're all over California, all over the United States, East Coast, West Coast. Tasmania in Africa. Nobody's checked in from Panama or Argentina like they have, so we're hoping we're going to. And they just put the map up. It's pretty awesome to see that there's Cougar fans. And it's a testament to BYU, really, Austin. You think about it. This is a global fan base, which is really, really cool. That we got to play in front of a global fan base, really.
And they were.
That's awesome.
They knew you were on the show, so that's really helping us too.
Checking in, baby.
Okay, here's question number 2. Which are you most proud of? A, national freshman statistical leader in receptions per game, 4.8. B, breaking the BYU freshman receiving record with 4 touchdowns with 8. Or C, breaking the BYU freshman record for receiving yards with 771. Which of those 3 are you most proud of?
Which was the first one again?
4.8 receptions a game, which led the nation for freshmen.
Led the nation. Let's go.
You okay? Going with that one? All right, there's number A again. All right, they're going to get a little tougher here. Start.
So the third one, A, which are you most proud of? A, as a junior, you led the nation in receiving yards per game. B, tied the NCAA single season record with 11 consecutive 100-yard games. Or C, catching the pass on 4th and 18 to set up the winning touchdown against Utah. Which one are you most proud of? That's a tough one.
Great question.
Those are good ones.
I'm going with tying a national record, right? Like any player wants to kind of leave his fingerprint on the game, and that was probably as close as I got nationally to doing so.
So leading the nation receiving or tying the NCAA single season record. Yeah, 11 consecutive 100. That's pretty awesome. Yeah, that's cool.
Hans Olsen's on the line, going to join us in just a sec. We're visiting with Austin Collie. We're playing the game. What are you most proud of? Here's the question number 4. A, breaking Pete Van Valkenburg's 35-year-old BYU record with 366 all-purpose yards against Tulsa. B, being named MVP of the 2007 Las Vegas Bowl, which BYU won 17-16 against UCLA. Or C, being named All-American by CBS, Associated Press, and the Sporting News. Which of those are you most proud of?
Oh, being named All-American. National recognition.
Yep, there you go. Although, don't you think that maybe
Ethan
Monomaliuna could have been the MVP of the Las Vegas Bowl that year?
He could have. He had that one play, which was big.
His one play was big.
You put him in for one block, and all of a sudden you're going to give him the MVP.
He saved the game, Austin.
Yeah. It was a great play. Part of me thinks that you just kind of lucked into that one, but great play by him.
All right, here's question number 5, our final question for Austin Collie.
Yep. So, which are you most proud of? A, getting drafted by the Colts. B, catching a pass in Super Bowl. Which one was it?
XL,
whatever that is. I can't remember which. I remember who you played for, but okay. Or so catching a pass in the Super Bowl, or C, being inducted into the BYU Hall of Fame in 2019. So Hall of Fame at BYU, catching a pass in the Super Bowl, or getting drafted by the Colts. What are you most proud of?
Oh, probably being inducted in the Hall of Fame.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, we didn't win the Super Bowl. It's just another game. You don't win it.
That's true. See, that's why Austin is a winner.
I know. He played well in the Super Bowl.
If you lose the Super Bowl, it doesn't really matter.
Doesn't really matter.
And Dennis always acts like
first or last.
Dennis always acts like he's king, Dennis
Ricky.
Pitta, because he won a Super Bowl.
I know. I have to put up with him on a daily basis.
You have to deal with that almost every day, right?
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, when he won it,
yeah,
that's the first thing I tell my wife is, "Oh, I'm never going to hear the end of this."
And so it goes. Hey, give Brooke our best and the family. We'll see you on August 30th, right next to us, for another season of Game Day. We're looking forward to it.
Austin, make sure those kids.
All right, my guys.
Make sure those kids, high school and Little League, are having fun out there. Okay.
Oh, we're having a blast. Look at us right now. Look at us. We're running a little pat and go right now.
Yep, that's what it's all about. They gotta have fun. That's
those
what we
are
want.
Lucky kids.
Right? So,
thanks, Austin. See you in a couple weeks.
All right, guys. We'll talk to you.
That's Austin Collie, our colleague and friend at BYUtv, outstanding receiver and full of insight, information, and opinion. And that's one thing we love.
And he was Austin's NFL career slowed by injury, but he was one of the best receivers in the NFL for that couple years when he was playing with Peyton and those guys, and was on a track to be a multi-year Pro Bowler. And concussions cut his career short, but clearly one of the most talented players to ever come through this program at BYU.
Our next guest has been ready for football since he said good night on BYU radio on the postgame show last December. It's a long wait, and it's just about over. That right after BYU blew out Colorado in the Alamo Bowl. He's the tag team partner of Greg Wrubell on the radio side of BYU Broadcasting. Always a pleasure to have this former Cougar and our colleague Hans Olsen on the Wise Guys. I know you got an earful of Austin Collie there toward the end. He had a lot of things to choose from on what he was most proud of.
Yeah, great player, and it was a great place to play. You talked about Peyton, and you talked about that amazing Colts organization, and I was there a couple of years before he jumped in there. And talk about a great group of guys that know how to practice, they know how to play the game. And man, I wish Austin could be a little bit more Marvin than Austin if he wasn't so dang ornery and thought he had to take on everything with his head. Marvin wouldn't take a hit. Reggie Wayne wouldn't take a hit. Those dudes would get a ball and get to the ground as fast as they could. Austin, he would just keep running right through the hits. So tough dude.
No, and Peyton loved to throw it at him, and he tells the stories of how Peyton would get on him, and he felt like that was a compliment because Peyton wanted him to be great, even as a rookie. When Peyton starts getting on you when you're a rookie, that's really a compliment, isn't it?
I'll be honest with you, Blaine. If you're on the field with Peyton, he gets on you.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
Hans, we just realized that this is the first time on this show we've had 2 Indianapolis Colts. And so we appreciate having you as one of our headliners tonight.
Well, all we need to do is get Blake Freeland, and
what about
ourselves
Derlin?
a nice little trio over here.
We've never had 2. We get Dewey. We could get 4.
We get Dewey, you, Austin, and Blake, and we can have a four guy Colts thing.
Yeah. The Colts have had a lot of BYU guys go through.
Yeah.
Larry Moore was there when I got there, our center.
Didn't Rob Morris play there too?
Rob Morris
was there.
What about Aaron Francisco? Was he with the Colts a little bit? Or no?
Aaron Francisco was there.
Yeah.
Kaipo McGuire
That's
was with
right.
the Colts. Matt Johnson, if you remember the offensive lineman, Matt Johnson, he was drafted by the Colts. It's been a nice little BYU pipeline. I don't think people realize how many BYU players have gone through there.
Yeah, that's people always think the Niners and the Eagles, probably because of Andy, and then Mike Holmgren was there for a while, and Steve was there, and they think of those 2 teams. They don't think of the Colts, but when we just laid it out right there,
there might be more Colts than
any other, right? So
a lot of BYU players.
Yeah, that's fun.
I think there was 6 or 7 within a 5-year period when I was there.
That's cool. And you know what? The guys that come first set the tone, and they go, yeah, well, let's take another guy. Let's sign another guy from BYU. These BYU guys know how to work. And so it's just like anything else. The guys that are the foundation set the tone for the guys that come later, for sure, right?
Well, yeah, and I will tell you, I think if you were to track any coach in the NFL that's had the most BYU players, that's probably Andy Reid.
Yeah.
He threw a lot of charity positions out there for guys like Chad Lewis and Reno Mahe. Just give them a home to sit in for a minute. But whether it's with Philly or whether it was Kansas City, he's really given a lot of BYU guys a lot of opportunity.
Hans, I know you talked about this on your radio show today in the Salt Lake City market. The Cougars ranked 26, 1 spot outside the AP top 25 for the preseason. You've had some time to think about it. What do you think about that?
Right where they need to be. It's right where I want them to be. Outside of the top 25, outside of everybody's mind, still feel like you got a chip on your shoulder because you feel like you should be ranked in that top 25. It's also a great position where you beat Portland State soundly. You get a nice dominating win at LaVell Edwards Stadium over Stanford. You'll find yourself somewhere around that 17-18 mark in week 2. If you're 17-18 in week 2, if you get a couple of clutch wins, you'll be in the top 15 within week 4. So I feel really good about that. I personally want Kalani and this team to feel doubted. I want them to feel slighted because last year they proved everybody wrong. They shoved every word that I said right down my throat and text me during it. And it was awesome. It's not that I was overly negative. I just didn't see 11 wins.
Are you telling me in the middle of your broadcast, Kalani in the middle of the game would send you a text saying you didn't know, but you just found out?
Hans doesn't know, but he's about to find out.
Did you get those right in the middle of the game?
No, he sent me a text during the middle of the game that said, "I'm as surprised as you are." Actually,
yeah, it's interesting that you say one victory probably jumps on multiple spots. Is that because if they have a really good showing, then the quarterback's going to play well, and then will everybody just in their minds go, "Oh, you know what? They're all right at quarterback, so we probably penalize them too much for losing Jake. Let's move them up where they belong." Is that the mentality you're using to say maybe they go up to 17 or 18?
That's exactly it. Well, there's a couple things, Blaine. So number one, people are instantly going to see that Glasgow and Kelly are still on the field, and they're still ridiculous. They're going to see Keanu Tanavasa and be like, "Oh, man, now they got some interior threat." They're going to see LJ Martin. They're going to be like, "Oh, geez, yeah, we forgot. That guy when he was healthy, he was unstoppable." They're going to learn about Sione Moa, which I'm really excited for people to learn about Sione Moa because he's spectacular. I do want to see a number 3. I'm hoping that Hinckley can get back as quickly as possible.
Do you know, and I saw Hinckley the other day, and he is as healthy as he's ever been at BYU.
Yeah.
And he's just waiting for the NCAA to give him a clearance. And I was walking away from him the other day, and I thought, you know what? This might be a good thing. Hinckley's always had some minor injury in camp that's haunted him the whole. I'm okay. He's in such good shape and he knows this offense. I'm okay if he misses most of camp and doesn't get hurt. And then they just plug him in, right?
It would be really nice just to have him as the third option. You know, I know that there's a couple of other guys, Nawahine and a couple of other guys.
Preston Rex, they moved over from safety. Yeah. And I talked to A-Rod the other day, and I said, who's the biggest surprise at camp? He goes, holy cow, Blaine, Preston Rex. I was like, Preston Rex? And he goes, yeah. He said, how did we not know? He said he does all the things you can't teach a running back. Like we hand him the ball in a stretch, and he immediately puts his foot in the ground and hits a cutback lane. Yeah. He says, vision, ability to make people miss. And he says, and you should see this guy catch the ball in the backfield. He goes, he is going to play. And he says, and frankly, none of us had any thought about that. And 8 practices in, the dude is really good at running back. We're much more solid than we thought. I thought, good for Preston Rex. How about that? It's pretty cool.
Well, the last defender they moved over from defense to running back, he ended up getting drafted, and he's kicking some butt in the NFL now.
Tyler Algier played for linebacker, and they moved over.
Okay.
Hands.
Yeah. They have a good vision with that. But yeah, so my point is, Blaine, I believe that people will remember and they're going to see, oh my gosh, these guys have a lot of talent, and they did add some talent. And I think that they would jump the rankings fast. I think after a Stanford win, a good Stanford thumping, I really do think they could climb into that. Anywhere from 18 to 20, I think is very possible.
So what do you want to see? What are you most looking forward to seeing from BYU on August 30th, which is a couple of weeks out now against Portland State?
Yeah, the starting quarterback. That's the biggest answer, and that's the most exciting aspect. And to see if they've got the touch, if they've got the poise, if they've got what it takes to run through this daunting schedule, because it is going to be a long fight for BYU. This is a really tough schedule, and I like how it starts. I like that you get a couple of good games, Portland State and Stanford, to get things going, and then you get things rocking with East Carolina. East Carolina is going to be tough. That's going to be a tough road game, Blaine. I don't know, Dave, I don't know how familiar you guys are with those Carolina fans.
It's not an easy place to play.
Yeah, they're wacky. And then I'm sure you guys are going to be there. I'll be there. We're all going to be there in Boulder. And we're all going to see what Coach Prime brings with all these 5-star talent that he was able to get. Yeah. And we'll get a real test of what BYU is going to be in conference play. But it's the quarterback, Dave. And, I've got some ideas. I've got some thoughts based off of breaking down Aaron Roderick's comments and the small observation periods that we've had, and my overall thoughts on what these quarterbacks can be. I've got some thoughts and expectations, but that will be the biggest thing for all of us to watch in that opener against Portland State.
Yeah,
so clearly that's it. But here's a question. You just talked about, people are going to realize that Isaiah Glasgow and Jack Keller's still there, and maybe Sialia Sarah's a beast, and oh, wait a minute, their safeties are back, and these guys are really good, and their corners are good, and so with all of the strength, and the receivers are deep, and you just talked about the running backs, and this offensive line is deep. They got some young, really good guys backing up, and some veterans on the. Are we making too much of the quarterback situation? Because BYU, they were talking 12 to 14 2 months ago. Jake's suspended, and then he leaves, and all of a sudden they're not in the top 25. Are we making too much of the quarterback thing, or is that valid that they drop 8 to 10 spots because of it?
Yeah, I think it's valid because it's college football, and it's a position you play, Blaine. Nobody knows it better than you. In college football, I guess it would be, they talk about it in the NHL, that the goalie is the most important position, and what they say is you don't realize how important it is until you don't have one. And that's the quarterback. You don't realize how important it is until you don't have one, and you're trying to throw a couple of different guys in, and then you start these quarterback rotations, and nobody's getting that drive done when they need that drive. And so, Blaine, it's important. You've got to be able to orchestrate it. And Roderick's offense has moving parts, and you've got to be smart. And I actually think that that's why Bear Bachmeier still has a real shot in this. Yeah. I think that he is an extremely intelligent kid. I've got a family member that played with him, or that's been around the Bachmeier family at Stanford. And the my family is very complimentary of the Bachmeier's intelligence. When they were coming over, said, I think you might be getting two of the most intelligent kids and intelligent football players that this game knows. So I don't put it past guys like Bachmeier. You know, if Bear really is as intelligent as my family says he is, you know, Blaine, they can learn this offense and they can be great in it. But yeah, it's that critical, and yeah, it should drop them, and until they prove it. And then once they prove it, they should bump up into number 15 after that Colorado game. They should be right around 15, and then you get into West Virginia and at Arizona. Those were a couple very winnable games. In fact, you got to win them.
Yeah, if you get start out 6-0, you're a top 12 team, right?
Well, and then enter University of Utah.
Yeah.
Who's going to be, they've got a chip on their shoulder. So that rivalry game is going to be one for the ages.
In just a couple minutes, Hans is going to reveal his top 5 games of the season on the schedule for BYU. We're visiting with former Cougar and BYUtv and BYU radio analyst Hans Olsen on the Wise Guys, presented by Brady Plus, Eddie, and Mountain America Credit Union. A couple of rapid-fire questions for you. No matter who the quarterback is,
right?
If BYU's defense holds its opponents to 19.6 points a game like they did last year, how many games do the Cougars win?
10.
Yeah, 19.6 is elite level, especially in Power 4 football, right? So I think he's right in there. Okay, so here's the next one. If the secondary comes anywhere close, and it's a combination of secondary and backers, to the 22 nation-leading interceptions they had last year, how does that show up in wins and losses?
That will reflect by a +2 or a +3 category. So that would take you from a 6-win season to a 9-win season. Interceptions like you go back to those moments against TCU. I think Tyler Batty had an interception just before the half or just after the half, and then you had the pick 6. Was it Parasis?
Yeah, Tommy. Oh, he had a scoop and score.
A scoop and score. Yeah. That's right. He had a scoop and score that it ended up with a quick touchdown. You know, those turnovers were so critical. That was the game against TCU. So I'm going to say it's if you're talking about 22 interceptions, I think that's a +3 level.
Three more wins, then that'll earn you 3 more wins, which puts you up in 9 or 10 wins then.
Yep.
If Will Farron doesn't miss any field goals, and he's made 16 in a row, how does that factor into wins and losses?
I think it'll be imperative. I think that would add on to a record by 1 or 2. There's going to be 1 or 2 games that he's got to nail that shot in order for BYU to win. And so I would say that's a +1 or a +2. And man, he's so good, you guys.
Yeah.
And I went back and watched the end of that Utah game, and I've played in that Utah game. I know how intense and how crazy the feelings are, the butterflies and the nerves, and watching that offense get into field goal position and him knock through a 44, was it, or 47?
44.
Right down the pipe.
It was just awesome. And, you guys were talking about the 22 interceptions, and you were talking about the great defense. Last year, I believe BYU's special teams were a +3. Okay. I think they gave you 3 wins that you probably wouldn't have had. If they just played flatline, probably 3 wins that you wouldn't have had. And, you had the moments, what was it, Arizona State, where they booted one straight up the middle and it bounced off Tanner Wald or something.
Yeah, off of Talon, all free. Yeah. And it wasn't even an onside kick. He was doing a squib, but he hit it so hard right at him, Talfrey couldn't get out of the way. Like, such a lucky play, right?
Such a lucky play. Or that stupid quick punt.
Yeah.
Against Kansas, where it goes off of Jacob's helmet, because Jacob thinks he's in coverage. He doesn't know. He thinks he's in coverage. And that football came off the foot like it was a pass, bounces off his helmet. Those,
like we were looking Hands, and that ball had to go through a 2 foot by 2 foot window to even hit him.
Yeah.
Like, what's the chance somebody punts a ball into a 2 foot by 2 foot window and they recover? I mean, it's just, there were some teams that had some lucky plays against BYU that resulted in wins the other way, right? So,
I've talked about this because people love to make the argument to me. well, BYU was 3 or 4 plays away from only having 7 or 8 wins. I'm like, they were really 3 plays away from having 2 more wins.
Right.
So,
yeah.
It's just it was crazy. It's the craziest season I've ever watched.
Yeah. And that's Power 4 football, though, where there's so much talent on each team. Even the bad teams have good players. So
yeah.
Well, Hans, that Utah BYU rivalry is never far from our thoughts for these fan bases. You talk to both all the time. Considering Kalani's recent recruiting haul, the program's financial strength, both with NIL and ticket buyers, and the staff that he's got here, how worried should the Utes be moving forward as they try to go toe-to-toe?
Well, kind of an interesting angle to that is BYU feels like they have the youth to sustain the staff, whether it's Jay or Kalani or Roderick or, this is
Gennaro,
a pretty youthful staff. Now, Morgan Scally is coach in waiting, so he'll take over the head coaching duties, but they're going to have to transition out of the Kyle Whittingham era eventually,
Right.
Maybe in the next 2-3 years. Kyle Whittingham is such an incredible recruiter. He can sit in a room, and he was like Lavelle when Lavelle recruited me, where it's like, geez, this guy's won a lot. And he's created a lot of NFL talent. I think he's got 65 draft picks in his time, in his 19 seasons at Utah. Like he's drafted a lot of guys. So the point I'm trying to drive home is they're going to be transitioning out of a high-level coach. Now, I think that they've got great coaches and they've got young guys that are set up and ready to take over the organization. But look at the transition from Lavelle out into Bronco. Yeah, they had that good year under Gary with Lavelle's guys, but then there were these really tough years until Bronco got the engine revved up again. I think that's just another layer to add on to it. The other thing is how quick BYU picked this up, Dave.
Right.
Yeah, what do you think about that, Hans? Because it felt like 12 years of P5 football for Utah had given them almost an insurmountable recruiting advantage, and now BYU's barely in the Big 12, and they went like 10-1 against Utah this year on head-to-head recruiting. Like, are you surprised that they closed the gap so fast in the recruiting department?
I am, only because I did not see the amount of money that they would have access to. And I didn't realize it until I was told. I didn't realize how much in the money game they were willing to get and could get. And that's made an amazing difference. So, think about this, Blaine. You and I signed with BYU for a reason. It's one of the more incredible places that you can go as a young man. It's the structure that I needed in my life. It's everything that I needed. And yeah, I had some tough experiences. The honor code was tough for me. It was hard at times. School is hard. BYU is a very hard academic university. And I've talked to kids that have transferred into BYU and kids that have transferred out of BYU. And they're always like, geez, man, the academic structure and level is really daunting. Those things are tough and they're challenging, but that university is so beautiful and so unique, and it sets you up for so many great things in life. And I would say, number one, just to have a base testimony and to get going in the direction religiously that you want to get going in. I mean, we got to talk about that aspect. I know every university offers institute and offers church classes, but it's different. We know it. It's different on that campus. So you've got this unique blend of the difference, the money, and now winning. And I think it was just a perfect storm. And we have seen some intense recruiting. The Ryder Lyons signing is mind-boggling. It's just mind-boggling.
Yeah.
And exciting.
Well, and Brock Harris down in Southern Utah, like, he's as good a tight end as they've had in the state of Utah, and as long as I can remember. And I don't think people realize how big of a signing that he could have gone anywhere he wanted to and be the guy. So it seemed like it was one after the other, and basketball did the same thing. And it's interesting, Hans, that you bring up testimony and that extra aspect. There are kids that are not members of the predominant faith there that are coming for the same reason. And I say this because I had a long talk with Yegor Demon and his folks, and one of the reasons they chose BYU was not just because of the NBA coaching staff and all of that. It was like, no, we're a really religious family, and he has a lot of faith, and we want him to go to a faith-based place. So and we want him to be not distracted because we want him to get ready. And then we hear a similar story from AJ. And so these are basketball stories, but the same things are happening in football where there's some really high-level recruits that are not members of the Churches of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints that are also coming because of the faith-based nature of the institution. Have you seen that as well?
Yeah, and I saw it in my time,
Bless you.
Excuse me. Ronnie Jenkins came because he wanted structure. His grandma wanted structure. And I think now, Blaine, Dave, I'm sure you've seen this too. I think BYU, and I know the Jake Retzlaff story and situation is different, but BYU has done a very good job of transitioning into this hardcore put your name in the media during honor code issue thing into, if we can let this kid grow, if it's not illegal, if it's, if it's not something that the law is involved with, if we can let him grow, then we're going to let him grow.
Like they do in any department on campus.
Right.
With any kid.
That's what I like now, Hans, is like, and we all have a little bit of a look behind the curtain, but the mentality of the university with all of the students is these are young people that are going to make mistakes. And we don't want to alienate them or cast them out. When they have a problem, what we want to do is put a scaffold around them and help them get back on the path that they should be on. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to love them back in. And they don't just kick out everybody. And maybe it felt like at a time back long ago that, well, we have to make an example of athletes. And now I think, and you're saying Jake's a little bit of an exception, it was just so public and so visible that it was a little bit of a different, but now it seems like they're treating the athletes, members or non-members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, with that same loving, listen, you got a problem, and you go to your ecclesiastical leader and you want to fix it, and you have a desire to be a better person. That's what we're here for. We're here to put our arms around you and give you help and help you get back on the path and be the person that you want to be. That's what we're here for. Not to marginalize you and kick you out as soon as you do something wrong. And we've all seen from behind the scenes a fundamental change across the board over the last decade, which I think is a fantastic direction that they've gone. And so I'm glad you bring that up, Hans.
Yeah, it's a must. And I wish that it would have been more like that when you were playing, a little bit more like that when I was playing. Don't get caught in the weeds. And continue to reform it. Yeah. I just don't care about beards. I don't care about mullets. I don't care about long hair. I care about young men having an opportunity, Blaine, that you had, right? And that I had. And to be able to be on that campus, to be a part of that team, to have what better word to use? To have the spirit around you in the locker room and on campus and with your friends. Yeah, you're still doing dumb things. Nobody's acting like they're perfect. Gosh, I was the biggest idiot on campus. and I made a lot of stupid mistakes. And everybody has to admit that they're stupid at that age. They're dumb. So I don't want anybody to think, oh, well, these guys are perfect and they think they're having church in the locker room. No, it's far from that. The locker room was really rough. Yeah. I was rough in the locker room. There was ugly talk, and it was really tough. But it's not as tough as the places that I took recruiting trips to.
Exactly right.
Can you imagine?
I don't even want to talk about some of the recruiting visits that I had.
Yeah, that might be a whole nother show.
Penn State. No, we can't do that on this show.
No.
Hans, can you imagine if we had gathered 36,000 perfect 22-year-olds,
oh gosh,
and they happen to be over on campus? The whole world would be here to go, hey, you found 36,000 perfect young men and young women. Then they would go where the city of Enoch went, and then we would have no players.
Anybody.
Then we wouldn't even be able to have a team.
We're every week we have a congregation of sinners that are trying to help each other get better, and that's the same as it is down on BYU's campus. And
Former Cougar, BYU radio football analyst Hans Olsen on the Wise Guys, live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, wiseguys.com. Bradford's on the stream from 35,000 feet on his way to Oahu. So I don't even know how we mapped that because he's moving.
Is he streaming us? Is he allowed to do that on an airplane?
I think you can do anything now up there.
Oh, wow. That's pretty. So, Hans, we're international in international airspace right now on the show.
That's awesome.
Hey, and Les from New Mexico, Hans, has a food question for you because I know you often talk about food on your show.
I don't know if Hans knows Les Namenga. His son Joseph has been a manager on the football program for a number of years. Les is a world famous Native American artist, and he's down in New Mexico, and he joins the show all the time.
So he says, I need a food question answered by Hans.
Very important.
Mac and cheese or spaghetti and meatballs? That's the question.
Mac and cheese, but a homemade mac and cheese.
Okay.
And I would do a couple of things. I use a pepper jack for some of my cheese. I'll also mix in, and this goes out to him, I'll mix in some green chilies.
There you go.
I like a 5-alarm green chili. I like a pepper jack. I like a creamy mac, and I like to use the shell, and I do a bit el dente. So not fully cooked, just so it's got a little bit more texture in the shell with that creamy chili cheese. So good.
See, Les, how about that, Les? That sounds like it's got a little bit of Santa Fe, New Mexico flair to it right there. And Les is, his galleries are down there in Santa Fe.
When I think of mac and cheese, I think of out of the craft box. That was just a whole experience you just described.
And by the way, and you cook it on the smoker, so it gets a little smoke in the cheese. By the way, Les, my son's down there in New Mexico on his mission. He's on the reservations in New Mexico. He's already had a couple of baptisms. He's been out for a couple of months, and he loves New Mexico.
That's awesome.
Loves the people. He is loving his mission. He is in the most beautiful headspace I've ever known my son to be. And I'm grateful to New Mexico, the people of New Mexico, the beautiful natives who live in New Mexico. What an incredibly enchanting place that has so much unique depth and highly underrated food town is Albuquerque.
Yeah.
It is one of my favorite food stops. The fresh rolled and pressed and made tortillas, the green chilies that they put on everything. Their meats are softened with great marinades, just well seasoned, a little bit of spice, but not too much spice. They know what type of cheese to use for every occasion. You know this, Blaine.
Yeah.
If you need melty cheese, or you need a more granule cheese, or you need a cheese that crisps up on a tortilla, they just have the cheeses and the knowledge. What a great food place.
It is fun to play. I'm sad that we don't get to go. I mean, I've done a lot of basketball games in the pit over the years and done some games. Dave and I have done games down from the University Stadium there. And I met Les because he was so kind. Brenda came down. I was doing New Mexico State in New Mexico for NBC down in the pit. And somehow I must have tweeted out. And Les DM'd me and said, hey, Blaine, this is Les. You guys coming up to Santa Fe? You should come up to Santa Fe. And we had an extra day. So we went up to Santa Fe. And he showed us around the galleries and just gave us some New Mexico love down there. And I've been a huge fan of Les ever since. And he says he concurs on the green chilies, Hans. And he also says that your son is in his mission. So he says he's in my mission.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so there you go.
Take care of him. Let's get some of that green chilies in my boy.
There you go.
You know what? I'd love to be in the living room when your son comes in, who's playing for Utah State, and going to be a big offensive lineman, just like you.
Wait a minute. He can come back from his mission to BYU.
Yeah, he could come back.
He can still come back.
But when they say, hey, Elder Olsen, what's your first name? And he goes, Rock. I just would love to be in that room when those guys go, this is a mountain of a young man. His name's Rock, and he plays football, and he's here to teach me the gospel. I think that's fantastic. Yeah. We're glad to hear he's doing great.
Yeah, and a Real American Dude says, this is awesome, and it's great for Elder Olsen. So, like lots of people rooting for your boy. That's cool.
Oh, it's so cool. They've got the native name for him, and I can't pronounce it in the Navajo tongue, but it's Bear Man. And he loves the people, Blaine. I don't know if I'm going to get him back. Maybe he stays and plays in New Mexico. I don't know.
That's awesome.
And by the way, Joseph was here at BYU, and he was working as I'd see him every day out at practice, and I said, "What are you going to do?" And he says, "Oh, I don't know." And then I was talking to Les, and Les says, "Every child of a great artist doesn't get the gift. And he said, Joseph has the gift. So I think Joseph came up for the experience here and is going to go be a world famous artist like his dad. So
that's so great. Speaking of sons, how proud are you, Mr. Fowler?
yeah,
I was out there at practice watching your boy work, and what a beautiful kid, man. I look at him and my heart just thumps. I mean, you talk about living an amazing life and working in a field that he loves. And I'm watching him with that passion in his eyes, and he's intense. And I was close enough. I was listening to his instruction. I'm like, this dude knows this game so freaking well. And it was just so fun to see him out there loving life, Blaine.
yeah, he's having so much fun. And I'm telling you, he's got some dudes. Like, he's the safeties coach. And Tanner Wall, like, people don't understand how good Tanner Wall is. He'll be one of the best safeties in the Big 12 this year. Because everybody's like, oh, he's super smart. He's an academic All-American. And he's this and he's that. And he knows where everybody's supposed to be. He even knows the defensive line's assignment and what their gap is. And he lines everybody. They say all these things. And you know what they don't say? He runs a 4.4 and has a 39.5-inch vertical jump. He's a crazy athlete that's also as strong as a house, right? And so, so he's that rare combination of super smart and really athletic. And Gavin's just like, man, I just love working with these guys. They're very deep at safety. He's got such a good crew. And guys like Raider DeMooney, the game was really fast for him last year. Now the game's slowed down. And he's really athletic. And it's a very, very deep position. And he loves coaching those dudes. And Kalani said to me, like a week or so ago, he said, hey, just want to tell you, Gavin is like literally only a few years away from being a Power 4 defense coordinator. I was like, wow, okay, that's awesome. And he goes, no, he gets this game. And that was a wonderful comment from Kalani. He says he just understands the game so well. And we just turn a lot of stuff over to him. Like, hey, Gavin, go teach him. Gavin, we're going to have everybody come to you for film study. D-line, linebackers, secondary, off-season. We're going to have them contact you so you can help them with recognition and teach them the defense, which I think is so good for his development to have that responsibility, but which has helped him to grow close to every position on the defense, and he loves that. He just loves the relationships. Coaching is about relationships, and you got to love that first and love the kids, and then you got to know what you're doing, and he sure loves that and loves the kids, I'll tell you that.
He's a great one.
I was interviewing him for an article I wrote last week on Tanner Wall, and so I got with Gavin after practice, and he goes, you're interviewing me? You need me? And I go, yeah, I'm interviewing you. You're big time now. And I got some questions for you. And that was a new experience for him. But, yeah, he's doing well. 5 questions for Hans as we finish up with Hans Olsen, presented by StrategySquare.co. Your top 5 games on the BYU schedule, ranking from 5 to 1, with 1 being the best. Or the Utah game. I'm not quite sure unless you're going to throw us a curveball at the end.
If Utah's number 1, we need a really good explanation.
There's 12 games on the schedule. Hans Olsen's top 5, starting with 5.
Starting with 5.
Here's the tough thing. 4 of the 5 are road games.
Okay.
Oh, wow. Okay.
4 of the 5 are road games.
Which is telling me that Utah's the only home game.
Yeah,
Utah's the only home game.
We'll try not to spoil it for you.
Yeah, okay, so 5.
Yeah,
What's
you're
number?
going to have to wait for where I rank it, though.
So number 5 is?
It's going to be at Cincinnati. I think that's a sneaky good Bearcats team.
Ah.
I can't wait to go call a game in that stadium. I love Cincinnati. I'm one of the few people I've ever met or know that loves Cincinnati. Speaking of spaghetti and meatballs, Dave, it's not spaghetti and meatballs. It's spaghetti and chili.
Oh,
and
is that a Cincinnati thing?
Chili going 4-way, where you get the onion, you get the loaded cheese, you get that Skyline chili that's got a little bit of cinnamon and a little bit of chocolate in it. It's just the best kind of like deep, rich chili mixes in with that spaghetti. So
we're gonna start a new podcast with Hans where we just do food stuff.
Do food,
and I think that'll be huge.
Sounds great.
Huge. So hey, one thing you were talking about Gavin. The first time that he went back there, I don't know if he was coaching or playing. They were at Cincinnati, and he called me and he goes, Dad, I love this stadium. He goes, this place is so like old school. It just reeks of history. And he loved it. And so I don't think people realize that Cincinnati's a cool place to play, and that stadium's kind of a cool, historic place.
It is. It is. I'm so excited to get back there. So that's number 5.
Okay, number 4.
Number 4 is the first Big 12 conference game of the year at Boulder, Colorado.
Yeah.
Taking on the Buffalo. I can't wait to see what Coach Prime can do. Because, guys, I called that Alamo Bowl.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I called that game. I watched Coach Prime and the level of embarrassment. You had 8.5 million eyeballs on you. You had talked about your Heisman winner. You had talked about your draft pick son. You had built this thing up like nobody quits. We're all going to play. They all played. Nobody left. Everybody played.
Which I do respect, right?
I respect it, but that made the embarrassment all the more. So Coach Prime, knowing that it's the first Big 12 game for BYU, Coach Prime is going to have them geared up. They're going to be notched up. You know it.
That's going to be
Both you
wild.
guys know.
It's going to be a wild
So,
night.
but here's the thing. Now you got a brand new quarterback, and it's not named Shador. BYU gave Shador 22 different looks to pre-snap looks, and not one of those 22 pre-snap looks were the defense that they got after the snap of the football. You don't think BYU is going to do the same thing to their brand new quarterback and cause confusion?
I think they're going to eat him up.
There you go.
And I think they're going to beat him up. But the other aspect of that, Blaine, is it could be two freshmen playing in that game.
True. Yeah, very true. So it could be
We'll
who's
see
ever
what
defense
Colorado-
can create the most short fields or scoop and scores or picks, right?
Exactly.
There you go.
And who can get their run game going and control some clock.
Awesome.
I cannot wait. That is going to be a great game. Number 3, on an airplane to Lubbock, Texas, to take on the number 23 ranked Texas Tech Red Raiders. It's going to be at Lubbock, and it's the 4th to the last game of the season. And I cannot wait to be in Lubbock and see what they do against what they're now coining the money team in the Big 12.
Yeah, Texas Tech spent a lot of NIL money, didn't they?
A lot more than BYU. It was a bigger buzz and more talked about at Big 12 Media Day than anything BYU's done financially. So Texas Tech is in the money game.
All right.
Number 2.
Before we get to number 2, we welcome Rick and Terry Scow from Cardston, Alberta on the stream. Steve is in from New Hampshire, checking in from New Hampshire. Can't wait to represent at TD Garden. Tickets purchased, ready to go.
Oh, for the
Love
UConn
show.
game. There you
So
go.
we're in Canada and also over in New
just added
Hampshire.
another country for this show tonight, in Canada. So we got Canada in the house tonight. So cool.
Very good.
Where everyone's eager for number 2.
There we go. And in Lubbock, Texas, they got a really good starting quarterback back in Baron Morton, and they're going to be good receivers. They're going to be good. That's going to be a fun one. Okay, so number 2.
Number 2, Ames going to Iowa State.
At Iowa State, yes.
It is going to be this is going to be the best the Big 12 has been in many years. You've got 12 returning quarterbacks that have a depth of incredible experience, and none more than Iowa State. And Iowa State is loaded, and they're looked at as a potential CFP team, and they got themselves to that Big 12 championship game last year, so they want to return and they want to walk away with it. And they've got a lot of their starters back, and that is going to be a dogfight. I think that's going to be the toughest game for BYU on their entire conference schedule, and that's because they play the number 1 team on my list the week before. They play Iowa State.
Yeah, that's a tough back-to-back. And Iowa State, it's one of the few stadiums in the country I haven't been to, but my understanding is that is a crazy place to play.
I've heard.
That'd be fun for you to go do that one, hands.
Yeah.
I've heard it's complete insanity, and Rocco Beck
He's the deal. He's a real deal.
He's a spectacular talent.
Yeah. Dave and I'll be back here in studio, so you're going to have to tell us all about that one.
Yeah, it's going to be a spectacular game. And the thing that's going to make that the hardest game on their schedule is you're playing the University of Utah, who is, of course, the number 1 most exciting and excited for game on this schedule. Kalani has now beat Utah 2 years in a row, not consecutively. Obviously, some time elapsed in between, but he's got a current win streak of 2 over Kyle Whittingham. Kyle Whittingham came back for the 2025 season, and I'm sure he has no intentions to lose to Kalani. This game has every major storyline for a rivalry game that you could ever imagine, where you've got players that have turned colors and gone from one to the other. You've got all kinds of intermingling with coaching, and you've got bad blood, even though they're friends. It's like, man, it's still bad blood. It's got every major storyline that you could possibly want. And the University of Utah has been consistently ranked above BYU by most national insiders. Guys like Brett McMurphy and many others that I respect have Utah ranked above and in the top 25 in many cases above BYU. So you got everything that you could possibly want. And you guys, that is going to be the game of all games.
Oh, yeah.
It should be great. So here's a question relative to quarterback, and I threw this out to Austin. I'm going to throw it out to you. Which is a bigger uphill climb? Utah has Dampier, who is a new quarterback, but he started at New Mexico, not nearly the level of competition that he's going to play against this year in the Big 12. So he's at New Mexico in the Mountain West Conference. And he has run this offense because they have a new offensive coordinator. So at Utah, you've got a quarterback who hasn't played at the P4 level, but he's going to be running an offense he's very comfortable with the new offense coordinator. But everybody else on that offense has never run this offense before. Or you have BYU, where you've got a bunch of guys that have played a bunch of snaps, returning starters at every position on the field except for quarterback, running the same offense you've run for a number of years, but a brand new guy at quarterback. Which is the bigger uphill climb? For a whole team to learn a new offense, but the quarterback knows it, or for a new quarterback to learn the offense, but the whole team knows it?
Man.
Because I'm struggling with that one myself.
That's a really good question, Blaine. Utah's got a unique situation where John Beck comes in, and he's worked very closely with Jim Hardy, who's been there, is the longest tenured coach on the offensive side of the ball for Kyle. And I know that they've tried to keep lingo the same, but you're right. It's a completely different offense. Nobody can tell me otherwise. It's going to be very difficult. You know what? If we're just talking about situational, and we're not going to go through each individual player and talk about talent, give me the system that's been in place and a quarterback that has to replace a situation. Bringing a whole new offensive set is going to be very difficult, very daunting. But Jason Beck as well as anybody.
He's really good. Yeah, he's really good.
And he'll have him clicking.
Yeah. And my question is, so heaven forbid any of these guys get hurt, but it just seems like your quarterbacks just go down in this day and age with the punishment they take. And Dampier he's smaller than, we talk about McCae Hillstead. He's McCae's height, only thinner, He's a power pack ball though. He's very, very muscular build. Yeah.
I think he's a pretty durable guy. One of the crazier stats that I came across, Blaine, was I went back and the 16-team season of 2024 and looked at quarterback injuries and replacement. I think that there was a total of 5 games missed because of injury from quarterback play in the Big 12.
Wow, that is amazing. That's probably the lowest they've had in years, wouldn't you think?
Might be the lowest ever. Yeah. I've never seen anything like it. The games available and games played by quarterbacks last year in the Big 12 was unheard of. Now, people are going to be like, wait a second, no, KJ Jefferson didn't play all the games. I'm talking about injury.
Right.
KJ was replaced because he was not good.
Right.
And there was a couple of change-outs. Baylor made their switch to Sawyer Robertson later, but the games that were available for Sawyer as a starter, he played in. Same with Baron Morton, and same with Rocco Beck, and same with Sam Levitt and Josh Hoover and Avery Johnson. And
as physical as this league is, those guys stayed healthy last year.
And Brennan Sorsby, all of them, Blaine.
And I'm looking at Utah. Utah struggled to keep a quarterback healthy, and BYU finally had Jake stay healthy last year for the most part. But they've had injury issues at that position as well. It feels like BYU and Utah have had injury issues. And then that changes the game. This game's not played until game 7, right? And so it's like, whose quarterback that they started this season with is actually going to have played 7 games by the time those two play? And I think that has a huge impact on this game.
Yeah, it'll be big. And I just look at BYU and I think to myself, designate that quarterback now.
Yeah.
And give him every first string rep. Give him all the confidence. You break the dam behind him and you just get a whole flood of confidence going and let that kid feel like he's a world beater. Whether that's Bachmeier or it's McCae Hillstead or it's Treyson, just back them up with so much confidence, because if they can get that clicking, I think this is going to be another special season. They've got so much talent, guys. And I am so grateful for the opportunity to call this game with Greg Wrubell. It's just so much fun to be in the booth and watch the master at work and be able to add my 2 cents and just stay out of the way as much as I can, but still let people see the game from my eyes. I just love it. And that rivalry game last year, by the time that field goal went through, I was depleted.
Well, you were completely exhausted. So
I was exhausted.
And we all were. We were all exhausted.
Yeah, it was quite a moment. And we look forward to it. The great Hans Olsen. Give our best to Amanda.
Yes.
Let Elder Olsen know that we wish him the best there in New Mexico, and we will see you soon.
Hey, I'm grateful for both of you. I love the Wise Guys. I don't do a lot of these, but I'll always be here for you guys. I'm your biggest fan of both of you. The way you guys represent yourself, represent the school, and just grateful to be called a friend of yours. So thank you.
Yeah, well, we love you, brother, and we love it when you come on. Thanks for giving us, dropping some knowledge on us tonight.
Anytime, you guys.
Thanks, Hans.
That's a great Hans Olsen. He'll be with Greg Wrubell calling the Cougars on BYU Radio. Greg will join us in 2 weeks, the week of the opener. And we'll hear from him as well. By the way, Scuba Chewy's in from Austin, Texas on the stream. And Eric from Singapore.
There you go.
Said,
We got
add
Singapore adds another country
to the country
to the
list.
tote board. Singapore is in. So
there's the big board.
Where is Singapore on this thing? Okay, there you go. Eric Waite's in Singapore. Look at this. Look at the Pacific Rim over here right now.
Yeah, we're well represented.
How about that? So that's pretty fun.
We're all over the U.S. and up into Canada, but now as you see, we are all over the map tonight. That's
look
awesome.
at this. And it just keeps growing. As we zoom in, you see it just growing. Like, that's a nice little spread all over the country, isn't it?
Yeah, that's great.
Pretty fun.
It is great.
That's great stuff.
Hey, plan to be with us tomorrow night, which is Tuesday, August 12th, for After Further Review on the BYUtv app. Myself, Blaine, David Nixon will take you through the schedule game by game. We'll set the stage for the opener against Portland State, and you can see it tomorrow at 5 Mountain Time on the BYUtv app. This is a football week. The NFL is fully engaged, and rosters, by the way, are going to be trimmed from 90 to 53 on August 26th.
Yeah, they don't do it like they used to,
where
they have, they cut 10 and then they cut 20, and then no. They just have everybody there, and then on 26th, it's down to the 53-man roster.
So here's who we've got on Friday. The Titans are at the Falcons with Tyler Algier. That's at 5 o'clock Mountain Time on the NFL Network. And then the Chiefs with Kingsley Suamataia and Andy Reid, of course, are at the Seahawks at 8 o'clock Friday night, also on the NFL Network.
Good stuff. On Saturday, you have the Packers with Zane Anderson and Chris Brooks at the Colts with Blake Freeland playing that left tackle.
So 3 Cougs on the field.
Yeah. You've also got the Patriots with Kairos Tonga at the Vikings, Tyler Batty, who's had a really good fall camp.
A lot of folks expecting Batty to make the team.
Yeah.
Brady Christensen and the Panthers are at the Texans. Watch Keaton Slovis play a whole half.
Keaton's had a good fall camp. How about that? I think that's great. So healthy and throwing the ball well.
Yeah.
The Dolphins with Zach Wilson, who, by the way, yesterday morning, he played pretty dang good.
Yeah, I wished he'd have hit that touchdown pass because that's all anyone talked about.
Yeah.
But his numbers were all right.
He looked good. So the Dolphins with Zach play at the Lions. By the way, Jamal Williams worked out for the Dolphins today. So would that be fun to have Jamal with Zach?
Yeah, it would.
It'll give us a reason to root for the Dolphins. So.
Yeah, and it takes a lot to root for the Dolphins.
It's hard for us to do that, but we could do it.
49ers, Fred Warner, Jacob Robinson got in some serious playtime.
He's been one of the biggest talks coming out of camp. It's how well Jacob's played.
They're at the Raiders Saturday at 2 on the NFL Network, so you can watch
so that. Here's the interesting thing. Did you notice on the Niners game on the, I think it was on the NFL Network, I was watching it the other night.
Yeah.
They were raving about Jacob, which tells you that they went to practice and talked to the coaches and said, hey, who of the up-and-comers have you got? And the coaches said, Jacob Robinson's like balling out. He's been running with the 2s. He came in as a 4. He's worked his way up to the 2s. He saw action with the 2s. He didn't do anything to embarrass himself, which is basically what you need to do out there. So to me, that was good. When the network announcers come in and they spend a whole little segment talking about Jacob Robinson, that tells you the coaches told him he's playing well. So,
yeah, we wish him the best. We'll keep an eye on that. He's got 2 more preseason games.
You got the Ravens and Kyle Van Noy at the Cowboys.
The Chargers are at the Rams with Puka Nacua. And then on Sunday, Darius Lassiter trying to get a job with the Jaguars. They're at the Saints. Taysom Hill, we might see him opening day. David Nixon said maybe.
Probably opening day.
But that's at 11 a.m.
If Taysom's smart, as veteran as he is, he'll miss all of camp and just show up for the first game.
That's what Van Noy was doing.
That's right.
NFL Network for the Jaguars and Saints. And then Monday night, Ryan Rico, Caleb Etienne, and the Bengals are at the Commanders.
It's funny you kind of brought that up just kind of in passing, but do you remember when we had Kyle on the show here?
Yeah.
And he hadn't signed with the Ravens yet. And he says, we got some feelers going with some teams, but we're kind of trying to slow play it because I really want to sign after camp is over. I just want to go in a position where I can play and not have to do camp at this stage of my career because my body can only take so many hits.
And that's exactly what he did.
And lo and behold, he missed all of camp, signs with the Ravens, and has his best sack year of the year, of his career.
So
unbelievable.
Do that again.
Perfectly planned.
By the way, Bradford says, I don't see my pin over the mid-Pacific Ocean yet, Jack, so I don't know what you want to do with that.
You have to put one right in between Hawaii and San Francisco, I guess.
But that's not where we want you to land, right? If we put you a pin over the Pacific...
So we've got him in Oahu.
We're going to put you landing safely.
Yeah, we got him in Oahu.
All right, Bradford.
Which I wouldn't mind if we were in Oahu right now. We could do a remote show from Oahu.
That'd be awesome. It is time for the Relight Athlete of the Week, presented by Redmond. The secret is in the salt. Learn what it can do at redmond.com. Last week, we honored Chase Roberts, and then Redmond sent him a gift package of Relight stuff, which is awesome. Tonight, we're going to honor soccer superstar Elle Walbruch. She's 5'10", a junior from Highland, Utah, captain on the BYU soccer team. And listen to Ellie's journey.
Yeah, so she starts out as a freshman at UCLA, and she and the Bruins win the national championship in 2022. And then in 2023, after transferring to BYU, Elle scores 11 goals and leads the Cougars to the College Cup.
So she just hangs out in the Final Four.
Yeah, how about that for back-to-back years, right?
That's pretty
And by
good.
the way, they beat UCLA in Provo when UCLA came in ranked number 1 in the country that year.
And that put BYU up to number 1, which was cool.
So now we move to 2024. During a spring exhibition game at Utah Tech, she suffered a torn ACL in her left knee, and so she was lost for the rest of the season, which was a killer.
The ultimate dagger there. After 15 months of rehab, she returned to the pitch and won MVP honors on Utah United in the USLW, which is like a semi-pro summer league. They won the championship, and she was the league MVP. And then 2 weeks ago in the blue-white game, Elle scored 2 goals. She also scored goals in both exhibition games against Southern Utah and Utah Tech.
Which is telling me she's back from the ACL.
She's got her stuff back.
She's back from the ACL, good to go. So BYU season opener is Thursday at Minnesota. The home opener is next Monday against Cal Poly. And then it's Ellie's former team, UCLA, coming into Southfield on August 23rd. What a night that's going to be for Elle and her family as she plays her old
and for all
team.
Cougar Nation as they jam Southfield.
And that's a big time game. She's a Minnesota Vikings fan. Yep. She's also a sports journalism major. She'd like to get into sports broadcasting. So we're going to have her on Wise Guys next month sometime.
Yeah, we're looking forward to that. And we congratulate Elle Walbruch, our Relight Athlete of the Week, presented by Redmond. The secret is in the salt. Learn what it can do for you at redmond.com. Jen Rockwood was on with us a couple of weeks ago talking about returning players, and here's a returning player that didn't play last year because of the injury. And boy, how valuable is Elle Walbruch to that group?
Oh my goodness, she's going to be huge. And Jen feels like she's got a great group of veterans back. She knew they were young last year and hoped they would mature by the end of the season, but Jen's right back on we expect to win the Big 12 championship, and our goal every year is to be in the College Cup. So I love that.
Yeah,
I love that Jen doesn't back away from that.
And have Elle out there. All Elle does is play in the College Cup.
Yeah, that's what she does.
Here's a question for you, Blaine. Our Cougar Board question of the week. If you're not familiar with Cougar Board, you should be. It's the largest online community of BYU fans. Thousands of posts every day. It's been hopping. Everyone's trying to figure out who the quarterback is. There's always an expert who knows something that no one else does, and then they post it. Our question is from El Jefe, one of their insider subscribers. Blaine, what was nutrition and strength training like when you played compared to now, and what things do they do now that you think would have benefited you the most back then?
So I think they're just so much more specific to position and what you do out on the field with their strength and conditioning. And I feel like their speed training, part of what they do, is light years ahead of where we were. So the science behind it is better. I would say in that regard, slightly better. Nutrition it's not close.
Right.
Like the guidance they get on nutrition, they tell them exactly what to eat, supplements. They have food for them in the nutrition center that's ready for them. They make them meals to take with them up to class. And they have just the right mix of protein and carbohydrates and all of these kinds of things. So the nutrition is just next level. And so a 300-pound athlete now compared to a 300-pound athlete when I played, because we had them, they're just fat guys back then. and the 300-pound guys now are lean machines out there. BYU has 3 freshman offensive tackles that are all between 6'7" and 6'8", and they're just growing. They're just youngins. They're like 290 to 300 each. They're built like strong safeties, only 6'7" and 6'8". Like, I marveled when I was looking at them. I had Spencer Need with me at practice the other day, and former All-American tight end, and he was just saying, these dudes are just not built the same as even when he played. And I chalk that up to not only good strength training, but the nutrition is just so far ahead. And then they've added this whole other level of sports science and mental health, which is phenomenal what they do with these kids on imaging and all those kinds of things. They are so far ahead in nutrition and mental health than we ever were. I wish we would have had the resources that they have today.
All right, there you go. There's the great answer to a good question. Our Cougar Board question of the week. Naperville, Illinois in late. But welcome, Russ. Good to have you with us. Hope the Cubs are doing better tonight.
Blake's choking to death.
Campus. Let's go to some campus notes and get you up to date on what's going on with men's basketball. Some TV details have been out since we were last together. We just want to run down the mega games. BYU Villanova, T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas on November 3rd. That's on TNT. BYU UConn at the TD Center in Boston, November 15th. That's on Fox. So right in the middle of the college football Saturday, that game is going on our national network. BYU and UConn. That tells you something right there.
BYU at Clemson, or not against, it's versus Clemson, is at Madison Square Garden on December 8th on ESPN. How fun is that to play in New York City during the Christmas holidays in Madison Square Garden?
Be awesome.
And then in agreement with NBC, this was just added a couple weeks ago, the Big 12 will have 20 men's basketball games streamed on Peacock. That puts Big 12 basketball in the hands of ESPN, Fox, CBS, TNT, and NBC and their various outlets. So
well, who knows if we're going to get a game?
Well, I'm going to find out who's doing the NBC package, because remember, I worked their package in the A10 and the ACC for years. I'm going to say Dave and Blaine are available for that Peacock package. Put us back on NBC where we belong.
Yeah, call those guys.
I'll give them a call.
Field of 68 tweeted to their 129,000 followers the 12 teams that can win the national title next spring. The list includes BYU, UConn, Houston, Duke, St. John's, Michigan, Kentucky, Purdue, Florida, Louisville, Arkansas, and Texas Tech. So there you go. There's another list that BYU just hasn't been on before.
And unlike football, the Big 12 is right there in the top 10. Yeah. they basically, this is a top 10, who they think the top 10 teams in the country are, or top 12 teams. And you got BYU, Houston, you've got Texas Tech, all top 12 in their minds preseason. So
it's good stuff. Women's basketball, the preseason schedule was announced. First 6 games are at the Marriott Center, so that's good for the new coach, Lee Cummard.
Right. Western Colorado, October 28th is the season opener. Then they've got Virginia Tech on the 27th of November. in the U.S. Virgin Islands. That's the other one you and I volunteered to cover.
If we weren't busy that weekend, I'd like to think that's where we're
Oregon State or Vanderbilt on November 29th, also in the U.S. Virgin Islands in that tournament. And then Washington State on December 3rd at the Delta Center.
Women's volleyball, the preseason top 25 poll came out. BYU is number 19. The preseason Big 12 poll came out. They're number 1.
Yeah, how about that? So I saw that. I was in the field house today and saw the nets all set up for practice. So
yeah, it's here. Claire Little Chambers is the Big 12 preseason player of the year. Sully Davis is the Big 12 preseason freshman of the year. And the all Big 12 preseason team includes Alex Bauer and Brielle Kemivore. So BYU's got some star power.
Yeah, they do.
In that starting lineup. Idaho State is the exhibition match. That's on August 23rd at 3 in the afternoon. They're playing that over at Ogden High School.
Which I always felt
in
looked
Ogden,
like,
Utah.
When I would drive by Ogden High School, I'm like, is that a prison or a high school? But they tell me it's a classic old school.
And it's going to have a volleyball game against Idaho State, BYU and Idaho State. Head coach Heather Olmstead is going to join the Wise Guys in 2 weeks.
Yeah, we're excited to have Heather on with us. Soccer, BYU beat Southern Utah 4-1 exhibition. Ellie Walbruch had a goal in that one, as we mentioned. They tied Utah Tech 1-1 in an exhibition. Walbruch had a goal in that one. This week, BYU's at number 24, Minnesota. We mentioned that in the season opener. That's Thursday at 6 p.m. on Big Ten Plus. BYU's at Cal Poly next Monday. And then, as we mentioned, the big game, number 8 UCLA at BYU in the home opener, Saturday, August 23rd, 7 p.m. on ESPN Plus.
Yeah, that's going to be one for the ages. The Big 12 preseason coaches poll came out. TCU's 1, Texas Tech is 2, BYU's 3, West Virginia 4, and Kansas is 5. BYU doesn't play TCU or Texas Tech in the regular season.
Yeah, interesting, right?
So that works out a little bit. And the All Big 12 preseason honors, Mackenzie Vance, Lucy Kessler, let's see, is it Mikhail Kromanek, Avery Frischnecht, and Izzy Stratton are on that list.
Yeah. Cross country, which we just expect men's and women's to just win the national championship every year now, don't we?
Now we do. That's the thing.
The bar has been set high. The season opener is the Autumn Classic. That's Friday, September 5th in Orem. So
just up the road, they'll be running for it. Fun. And in men's golf, best wishes to Peter Kim, Tyson Shelley, and incoming freshman Kihei Akina, who's been on the program. They're competing this week at the U.S. Amateur in San Francisco. And so a shout out to all three of them. We wish them the best. We had an awesome experience at the Ephraim Hope Charity Golf Tournament last Tuesday at Cedars Hills Golf Club. Our amazing community members gathered to raise money to send kids in Uganda to private schools where they can change their course of their life forever. Construction Management Pros was one of the key sponsors, and we're proud to welcome David Thorne, the CEO and lifelong BYU fan, to the Wise Guys. And you've been here in our green room watching the whole show. First of all, welcome.
Thank you.
And what do you think of our lair here?
This is awesome. This is really cool to hang out with you guys. Even though I'm like now getting to, it's kind of surreal for me to be here sitting, talking. And
by the way, don't mention where it is because for security reasons, we always say an undisclosed location somewhere in Provo.
Yes, for sure.
People have kind of figured out and narrowed it down a little bit, but
but
it's pretty cool. And Jack Hadley, our executive producer and partner in all of this, built this gorgeous studio for us,
awesome.
which is, and it's all kind of retro with the Big 12 in mind. It had a very much a design that Jack had in mind, and we love it.
Yeah, definitely a man cave feel for sure.
Yes, that's what it was. That's what we were going for.
Yeah, we do like that idea, the man cave idea.
Yep.
Your reaction to that golf tournament, $40,000 raised, going to send 160 kids to school for a year. And one, it was a fun field. The weather was perfect. But when you're playing for a good cause and you're involved as a sponsor in a good cause, what does it mean?
100%. Like that. Like I love BYU's mission because it's not just about like sports and football and whatnot. Like it's about giving back, and that's been so important to me as a business owner, is being involved with other organizations that are people first organizations, and realizing that, you know, we have an opportunity to do more than just, you know, for me, build cool buildings or houses or whatnot, but we get to give back and bless the lives of people all over the world.
Tell us about Construction Management Pros. What do you do, and what's your footprint here in the state?
So I started Construction Management Pros with the idea that, like, when you think about like your experience with other general contractors, or like whether it's building a house or a remodel, it's usually not a pleasant experience. People, always walk away like, oh, I love my contractor, but he's a good guy. But, and then there's like all the
There's always
things.
the but afterwards.
Yes, there's always the but. And so I decided like people were underserved in this area of client experience. And so we sought out to really redefine what people expected from, a home builder or a general contractor. Again, taking that people first approach to building really cool things.
That's cool. And by the way, if you want to donate to Ephraim Hope, you can still do that even though the golf tournament is behind us. Go to ephraimhope.org. Why was this charity so important to you guys?
Well, Gary is a good friend of mine, and I've gotten to know Gary over the years. And I realized that like from there's something so foundational and fundamental to education that I think sometimes, especially here in America, we can take for granted. I grew up in New Jersey, and for me, like education was like the last thing on my mind, right? We wanted to be athletes, or we wanted to do all the things, but like sports or even just sometimes survival was the thing that was first on your mind rather than education. And that's here in America. I can't even imagine what it's like in Africa, where you either work in the fields or you go to school. And if we can even save or help one person go to school instead of working in the fields to better their family's life, it's the whole, give a man a fish, teach a man a fish.
If one goes to school, then typically will change the life of that entire family for generations.
Generations,
right? So it's a small investment for a big return.
Yeah.
So,
Robert on the stream says, I have 1,000 pencils that I'd like to send to these kids. I'll pay for the shipping. Robert, we will get you in touch with the people to help make that happen. One thing that, as we were visiting with the golfers, and one thing that we see around BYU and around other places too is people love to give.
Yeah,
they love to give their time. That they'll give money if they can, because serving somebody else makes us feel better. Yeah, there's something magic about it.
I think like we inherently as humans, I think we want to do good. I think we inherently are good. We want to give. We want to be generous, and people do, and they come out all over the world, but especially here in Utah County. We've just noticed that there's so many people that have such giving hearts, and we're grateful for that.
Well, we're grateful to be able to hang out with you and participate in that tournament and a whole lot more as we move forward. Let's talk some football. For a moment.
You follow BYU.
Oh yeah,
you know very very closely.
Yes.
So your reaction to the AP Top 25 being 26th in the AP poll, how's that feel to you?
Much of what has been said, I actually think we probably. Maybe this is a hot take. I think 26 might have been a little bit too high. And I don't think we should have been probably below like a 30 or 35, but to come in that spot, I think that's almost even a little too high. Just because of the quarterback, it's such an important position, right? And I've had the opportunity to go and watch practice quite a bit of fall camp, and it's been amazing to see like the quarterback dynamic between the three of them as they've competed. And they all have their unique abilities, but you can see like Treyson Bourguet has really upped his game this year. He's come back. He looks strong. His arm is strong. Yeah. Bear is just a massive human.
He's a big dude.
I mean, the thighs on that man is just insane.
He has bear thighs.
He really does.
He looks like a bear.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. And then McCae is just a gamer, man. He's always locked in, and it's been fun to watch that.
So if you're Aaron Roderick, who's your starter tonight?
Yeah.
Oh,
what if you have a game tomorrow? We can play. Because that might be different 2 weeks from now, but you got to play tomorrow. Who you can line up?
You've already given us one hot take, so
give
us another one.
And you've seen practices as a supporter of the program. You've been at practice. Like, who do you play tomorrow? Who do you play tomorrow?
So this kind of goes back to your question earlier, right? Like, what's more impactful? Like, what's harder? What's the biggest hill to climb? A team that is has a quarterback that knows the offense, but everybody else doesn't, or a team that they all know the offense and maybe the quarterback doesn't. Right. In this case with like a McCae Hillstead, he knows the offense, right? The question comes is, does he have the physical tools to be able to do what he needs to do? And I think he's competed at the Division I level before. So I think if it was me and I had to go tomorrow, it's probably McCae Hillstead.
Okay.
Although I have seen flashes of brilliance from Treyson Bourguet. I mean, a couple of practices, maybe last week, he hit Carson Ryan over the middle, just a strike right over the linebackers, right before the safeties. It was a beautiful throw. But I've seen flashes of brilliance from all of the quarterbacks, which is why I think it's still dead even.
Still up in the air.
But you're going with Hillstead.
By the way, we have seen Carson Ryan make a number of those catches in fall camp, which is exciting for me.
Yes. Well, when
they got a tight end is getting down the field into the intermediate area, and the quarterbacks are throwing in the ball.
Well, he made that after that made that catch. He was running back to the line, and he was just he handed the ball to the ref, and he said, "Too easy. You guys make it too easy." And he's talking smack, and it's been fun to watch that.
This just in, Carson Ryan's really good.
Yeah,
He's
good.
Yes.
Yeah.
David Thorne, BYU fan, CEO of Construction Management Pros, is on the Wise Guys live around the world on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and wiseguys.com. What are you most looking forward to with this new season?
Oh man, I just love being in the stadium, right? Like just the atmosphere. I love bringing my kids. We've got 8 season tickets, and I fill them all. I just love like the bro hugs. I love all of it. I just love being a fan and being there. And as you know, corporate sponsor for BYU Athletics, we sponsor the post game show, and that's kind of a cool thing for me. It's Jack has a sign right here that says "Life is too short. Build something."
Right.
As a builder, I would 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
But more than that, like building memories with your kids and building a legacy that you can be proud of is something that I'm really passionate about.
There were some games last year, especially the Oklahoma State game that comes to mind, and a few of the others, Kansas State, where BYU fans paid more than they've ever paid in their life for a ticket, right? That's the world we're in now with the Big 12. But we watched the fans leave as we're doing the postgame show. They walked behind us, at least in that corner of the stadium. And there wasn't one dad, mom, son, daughter that wasn't going to be back the next week because they're like, we are not going to miss this.
That's right.
And there's the
so
magic
fun.
of that.
It's
feeling.
so fun to watch families walk out like that together.
It's true.
Yeah,
well, like this actually goes back to my childhood. I was 3 years old, and hopefully this doesn't make you feel too old, but I was 3 years old at the Miami BYU game. Mm-hmm. And I was with my dad and with my parents. We rushed the field afterwards, and I just remember as a 3-year-old sitting on my dad's shoulders, looking out on the sea of heads with all of the student section and the whole crowd that had rushed the field after BYU beat Miami. And that just ingrained in me a diehard fandom that will live on hopefully for generations to come. So bring your family, bring your kids, make memories.
Cool. That's cool
rush the
stuff.
field with them.
Now, you're a builder. Before we do 5 questions, you also have come with an offer.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So because I want to give a special offer to the Wise Guys community, we do a design contract, our introductory design contract. Usually when someone wants to build or they're not sure, we offer this introductory design contract, which is normally $5,000. Because of Wise Guys with the code Wise Guys, YS Guys, and we've got the instructions here up on the screen. If you just submit this form with that code, we'll give you 50% off. And then for every person that signs up for a design contract, we will donate an extra $500 to Eat from Home.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
No, that's really cool.
So those folks listening on the podcast, how do they find that? What website do they go to? Your company's website?
Yep, thecmpros.com.
Thecmpros.com.
Okay.
Thecmpros.com. And then you can just click right in the middle of the screen. You'll actually see our pop-up with our commercial that we air on BYU
So you do
TV.
like a full design, like a custom home build design with them.
Yep.
And normally to get all those drawings and all that stuff is $5,000. It'd be $2,500 instead.
Yep. We help you walk through that process of trying to get your thoughts and your ideas on paper.
So everybody who wants to build a man cave, kind of like the one we have, this is the road to go. Talk to the professionals, get a discount, and help contribute to Ephraim Hope all at the same time.
That's right. And we do everything from custom homes to, theater rooms or remodels or additions and whatever you.
It's fantastic.
Oh, I hope my wife's not listening.
She probably is.
No, she keeps saying she wants to knock out the kitchen wall and close the patio, and I'm like, you're talking to that's a bearing wall, and there's pipes and
tennis
power in that. She's
tennis and grandkids aren't keeping her busy enough.
They can do anything for the right amount of money. I'm like, yeah, exactly. So now she hears that you can do this, and I'm never going to hear the end of this one. So
here comes 5 questions for David, presented by Strategy Square. If you think your business could do better with social media, let Chantal help you out at strategysquare.co. So I know you are familiar with our show.
Right.
And this is what we ask all of our guests. And you are our guest, and we're coming at you with 5. You ready?
Bring it on.
Top of your head, just come up. Favorite sports movie?
Remember the Titans.
I think that's our number 1.
It's got to be. They
They
just played that at the stadium last month.
Yeah.
Up there.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Friday night.
That's right. That was the Friday night movie at the stadium. Okay, your favorite singer or band?
Oh my goodness. I'm actually going to go with something you probably didn't expect, but the Strive to Be is the youth music that they release, the church releases, called Strive to Be.
Strive to Be.
Yes, and it's all the youth music. There's a compilation of artists, but
okay.
My family, we love this. It's all like more modern, like hip music, but with good messages. So Strive to Be.
Strive to Be.
I told these guys, I was down in St. George a couple weeks ago, and these kids have their walk-up songs for baseball.
Yeah.
Like these are like 5th graders. They have their walk-up song for baseball, and they play it as they're coming up. And my grandson comes up, and he's playing, "I'm about to have a good day."
That's right.
And I'm like, "I never heard this. This is awesome. Who is this?" And they go, "It's Forrest Frank."
Forrest Frank.
I go, "Who's
awesome.
Forrest Frank?" And they go, "He's a Christian rapper." And I listened to the whole song of the words. And I'm like, that's a really good uplifting song. I've never heard of Forrest Frank.
Yeah.
So if you haven't heard of Forrest Frank's one
of my favorites.
Go listen to Good Day by Forrest Frank. It's such a great song with such a great message. Like,
this is
there's
underrated.
still people out there making good music.
Yes. When I was growing up, I listened to popular music, and I listened back to some of those songs now, and I'm like, oh my goodness, I was singing that.
Yeah.
I would get on my kids, and then later at night, my wife would say, "Hey, hun, remember when you used to listen to Rick James?" I'm like, "Oh, honey, why are you reminding me of these things?" Like,
so Strive to Be. Strive to Be. Singer
yes.
band.
Very good. Okay.
Find it on Apple Music.
Number 3,
Okay.
your favorite breakfast cereal.
I don't do cereal, but if
you had to pick
if
one,
I had
did have to do cereal.
somebody forced you to eat cereal.
There is a cereal at Costco. I forget the name of it, but it is like
What does it have in it?
it's got like dried fruit,
Oh,
and it's got like cranberries and like cherries and all this stuff. It's got like a mountain on the box.
so it's
I
like
can't
it's
remember.
some type of fruity granola thing.
Yes,
is what he's saying.
it's got
So
granola in it and
Yeah.
bran flakes and all that.
Okay.
It's sort of healthy, but
He's kind of giving us healthy music and healthy food.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You lost me on question 3. Let's just
I'm
move
a
right to
little worried
question
about
4.
David. I'm a little worried about David.
Listen, I
That's
would
okay.
prefer.
Danny Ainge eats not frosted.
Just shredded.
Mini wheat, shredded wheat.
Yeah.
I'm like, are you talking about just like the bales of hay things? And he's like,
Morning
yep.
Summit. We
Morning
got it.
Summit.
Is that
You
like?
got it.
Thanks, DJ.
Don't mess with DJ.
He
Like
knows
you
he's got
say
all that
something
stuff.
and
Morning Summit
DJ
is
like
awesome.
DJ has more information in the back of his mind than anybody I've ever known. Like, hey, what about this thing? And he just comes up. Like if I would have just sung that song, I said, who sings that song? Like within 30 seconds, he would have said, Forrest Frank. That's DJ.
Way to go,
He's our
DJ.
technical director and all-seeing, all-knowledgeable man over there. So
we hadn't heard of that cereal before, but now we have.
I might get some
so
of that.
Thank you for that.
Okay, your favorite game on BYU's football schedule this fall? Not called Utah.
Oh, I can't pick Utah. Like, listen.
It's too obvious.
Okay, I'm gonna say Colorado.
All right.
Close second is probably Arizona. I'll be at both
It sounded like
those games.
Hans was pumped for that Colorado game.
Yeah. By the way, why did thanks Hans. Thanks for making me so hungry.
Oh yeah.
I'm over here
Hans,
salivating.
He
Hans is
described
all about food, and the way he describes it in detail is like.
I'm not even
like,
a mac and cheese guy,
wanna
but I was when he was done.
I'm ready to start a food podcast with Hans or a live stream with
I
Hans.
never wanted cheese so badly in my life.
Smoked cheese with all this other stuff.
Well, just a hint of smoked cheese with a little pepper, and then just like
Stick it on the smoker.
chilies, like fresh chilies,
Yeah.
strained to 1 centimeter. I'm like, what is he talking about? So
I want to go eat at Hans' house.
Yeah.
So, and this is the most important one. Your favorite BYU moment of all time.
Oh my goodness, there have been so many.
Got to pick one.
You know, I'm going to say a recent one. When BYU broke the streak at BYU, Utah BYU.
2021.
2021.
Oh, yeah.
It was magical. It rained on us a little bit. Wasn't there a full moon? I was there with my wife. It was like
The jet said jets fly over.
were
Right
super
now, he's
low.
describing like every
It came in
aspect.
hot.
He sounded like Hans describing food right now.
It was a little bit crisp, but it was like perfect football weather.
And remember, it was the day after BYU was invited to the Big 12.
Day after.
So that was was
Yes.
the biggest weekend like ever.
in BYU history. Yeah, it was amazing. And I was there with my wife and my brother-in-law, and there was so much I think my brother-in-law jumped into my arms, and he's got his legs wrapped around me, and we're
How
jumping
much
up
does
and
this brother-in-law weigh?
down. He's a solid 200 pounds. 200 pounds.
Congratulations. David did not strain his back on that
No.
one. So,
Beating the Utes.
that's
It shouldn't be
it's a big
surprised
deal.
that's
That's
one
a
of the
big
great
deal.
moments.
My wife and daughter-in-law, the Gavin that coaches his wife, were up at the stadium at the university. They were going to go up there last year on their own. I said, absolutely not.
Yep.
You will take Kellen and Gavin with you, our two older boys that played at BYU. I'm like, they've experienced this from the field. Like, they're going with you.
Yep.
And they thought that was a pretty cool experience up there. So, and they did hear some
Well,
things.
it's cool when you win.
Yeah, it's all fun.
Yeah, it's not cool when you don't.
So that's fun. That's a great moment. That was a fun one. So appreciate
That's a great top
Mine kind
five.
of changes week to week, I decided.
Yeah.
Like, I think of cool BYU moments from week to week.
Well, they're our whole life.
So many of
Dotted
them.
with them.
I mean, my close second would be the 1990 Miami game.
That was a great one. That's
great
one of my
game.
favorites, too. There's so many great moments.
So many.
And they're part of your life, which is really cool. So
David Thorne.
I was thinking lately, of each time my three boys ran out of the tunnel for the first time. So I experienced
Yes.
it with them for the first time.
That's awesome.
That's one of my favorites now.
It's a good one.
It's a cool one.
David Thorne, the CEO of Construction Management Pros, big supporter of the Ephraim Hope Golf Tournament. Again, we raised $40,000 last week. Going to send 160 kids to school for a year in Uganda. Thank you for everybody for those who participated. And you can go to ephraimhope.org and make a donation and continue to help the kids down that way. We love having you in the studio.
Yeah.
It's great to get to know you, and we will see you in a few weeks at the stadium for
Yep.
opening night.
Absolutely.
And I have a feeling, David, that Brenda's going to call you probably about the addition.
Well, if she uses the Wise Guys code, it'll save you some money.
She knows now what that
Way to
you
go.
do this, and she'd be like, "Well, what about David? Why did you just come over?" So probably
Be
call you.
honored.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
All right, let's get to On This Day
Yes.
on August
Thank you, David.
11th as we head down the home stretch of Wise Guys tonight. It's been an awesome show with phenomenal guests. On this day in 1860, the first silver mill opened in Virginia City, Nevada.
The great
Remember, it's
silver
the
rush,
Silver
yeah.
State.
Yeah.
And that's how it started, with a silver mine
There you
on
go.
this day.
We're going to skip all the way to 1919. The Green Bay Packers were founded. So,
Wow, on this day.
Former Cougars that went through the Packers include Mike Holmgren, Andy Reid, Jim McMahon, Taysom Hill, Jamal Williams, and currently you've got Zane Anderson and Chris Brooks on that squad.
Maybe that trumps the Colts.
That's
we're
a lot.
talking about Colts.
Well,
That's
because we're
a
talking
lot
about
of guys.
coaches too. So
Yeah. A lot of Cougars gone through Green Bay. On this day in 1929, Babe Ruth becomes the first Major League Baseball player to hit 500 home runs.
That's amazing. 1951, the New York Giants, we're talking about the NFL Giants, right? The New York Football Giants, they beat Ottawa in the CFL 38-6 in Ottawa. What were they playing Ottawa for?
NFL versus
The Rough
CFL.
Riders.
You know, every now and then you go, I wonder if the best college team against the worst NFL team.
Yeah.
The worst NFL team against the best CFL team.
They're going to get
Anyway.
smoked. Right. And let's just answer that for all time. The best, who won the national championship last year? Ohio State? Who won it last year?
Yeah.
Ohio State would get killed by the worst team in the NFL. Absolutely killed, just so you know. There you go.
Nathan's on the stream from Lincoln, Nebraska, coming in late, and Brent from Boise, Idaho. Good to have both of you on with us as we continue to dot the map from all over the world tonight. On this day in 1971, Harmon Killebrew hits home run number 500 and 501.
Great man, Harmon Killebrew. 1979, Led Zeppelin performs in England for the final time.
Yeah, you know, they haven't been putting out new stuff, but their classics are still classics.
They're still good.
1999, on this day, a tornado hits downtown Salt Lake City. One person was killed, a whole bunch of damage. I remember being in Vegas covering that on our station down there of a tornado in Salt Lake. Are you kidding?
I lived in Kaysville at the time, and I remember thinking, can you get a tornado in Salt Lake City? Evidently, you can. It takes just the right thing. Mm-hmm. How about let's just go to 2024.
Okay.
Olympic Summer Games closing ceremony in Paris. Tom Cruise stunt jumping from a nearby roof.
The guy does everything.
He does everything.
That was something else.
Yeah.
August 11th, birthdays. 1921, Alex Haley was born. He was the author of Roots.
Yeah. 1950, Steve Wozniak, the co-founder of Apple.
That changed the world.
Yeah, birthday.
1953, Hulk Hogan was born on this day.
Yeah. Did Hulk just pass?
Yeah.
He did. Wow. 1983, Chris Hemsworth, Thor. The actor Thor was born in 1983.
I was watching Endgame or something the other night, and it's just so perfectly written.
Oh, yeah.
And Thor's got a big part in that.
Yeah. I watched that really interesting documentary that he did on sharks on the east coast of Australia that he hosted. It's fascinating. He was really good as a host in this documentary.
He's got a good voice.
Yep.
August 11th, deaths. 1919 on this day, Andrew Carnegie. Carnegie Hall of Fame in New York City. He died.
Our Libby girl has sung in Carnegie Hall. Pretty
Nice.
cool. And you know who sat there in the box with me and watched her? Stephen Barb Young and Brendan and I watched her. It was so fun to have those guys help support Libby. So 2003, Herb Brooks, the hockey coach of the 1980 Olympic Miracle on Ice, passed away.
He was the guy that coach of the team that beat the Russians.
So good.
And then the next day he won the gold medal.
Kurt Russell, because Kurt Russell did such a good job on them.
He did. And in 2014, Robin Williams, comedian, died on this day.
Way too soon.
Our Wise Guys inspirational quote of the week is from Alex Haley, the author of Roots, who wrote,
"In every conceivable manner, the family is linked to our past, bridged to our future." So there you go.
Isn't that a good one? Links everybody.
It's the link to our past and the bridge to our future, which it is.
Thanks to Austin Collie, Hans Olsen, and David Thorne, 3 big BYU fans, 2 former BYU football stars, and all 3 looking forward to opening night.
Right.
Next week, Brandon Doman and Chad Lewis will be on the show.
And I bet we have a quarterback by next week, and it'll be fun to talk to Brandon about that.
Yeah,
so
for sure. Here's where you can find us this week. We got a busy week.
AFR tomorrow for both of us, 5 p.m. on BYU TV on that app, and then you'll be in the Desert News pretty much every day. Every day.
A lot of stuff there, and on our show tomorrow on AFR, we're going through the whole schedule.
Yeah.
And it'll be a lot of fun. We'll spotlight each team and kind of
tell you
get
a little bit
ready
about what they got coming back. So, and let's remember, Wise Guys is presented by Brady Plus. Support plus support. Wait, supplies plus. They support their support.
They support their supplies.
But they have supplies plus support. Find out more at bradyplus.com.
By Eddie, HR and payroll software built for small businesses. See how Eddie can serve your team at eddie.com.
And by Mountain America Credit Union, empowering dreams for over 80 years. Find out what they can do for you at macu.com.
Our Relight Athlete of the Week is presented by Redmond. The secret is in the salt. Learn what it can do for you at redmond.com. Elle Walbruch was our Relight Athlete of the Week, and we wish the Cougars the best of luck Thursday night at Minnesota.
That's right.
That's the first regular season game of the new sports year.
We keep talking about this football team's loaded. This soccer team is loaded. So they're going to be really good this year. And let's not forget, Wise Guys is distributed by the Deseret News.
Have a great week, everybody. And we'll be back. Next time you see us on this show, we're just that much closer to kickoff.
We're 2 weeks from kickoff next week, right?
It's going to be cool.
So we'll see you next week.
Thanks, guys.